all of humanity gets transported into the stomach of a 100-ton massive fish. Outside is a world with only ocean, no land whatsoever. The giant fish periodically swallows seawater containing supply crates which flow into its stomach. People can open them to get water and food, as well as tools or blueprints that help them survive inside the stomach. The fish also swallows dangerous sea creatures. Humans must keep developing to survive. The giant fish feeds on algae. Each time it eats, massive amounts of seawater pour into the stomach. After the seawater drains, tons of algae remain. At this point, the fish stops swimming and digests the algae in its stomach. The algae moves incredibly slowly toward the digestion pit in the stomach. Since I obtained a special ability to hear the fish's thoughts, I learned that if I actively throw algae into the digestion pit, it speeds up the fish's digestion, and the fish swims for longer periods. As a result, I get more supplies each day compared to everyone else. This time, while moving algae, an accident happens. Something slashes a long gash across my arm. I scramble backward, and the sound of a shell smacking against the flesh walls echoes out. Since my arm keeps bleeding and needs bandaging fast, I hold my breath an inch closer to the algae pile. Finally, I see what the unknown creature looks like. It's an abnormally large shrimp with a sharp spike on its head. My arm must have been slashed by that spike, but it doesn't seem aggressive. It just keeps bouncing in place. Right now, my fear fades, quickly replaced by anger. I have no medical supplies, and if things go wrong, I could die from infection. Furious, I kick the big shrimp away to keep it from slashing me again with its spike. Then I tear a strip of fabric from my undershirt and do a quick bandage job on the wound. After stopping the bleeding, I continue moving algae to the digestion pit. Every time I reach out, I'm extra careful, in case there's a second shrimp. Once all the algae is moved, I start figuring out what to do with this shrimp. I've thought about just kicking it into the digestion pit, but I'm reluctant. If I can peel off its hard shell intact, it could cover my forearm. And if I run into aggressive creatures later, it'll provide some protection. Plus, the spike on its head can work as a knife. With that in mind, I decide to finish off this shrimp. I grab a piece of wood from the supply crate and swing it straight at the shrimp. Then, I pound its vulnerable head relentlessly for a solid 10 minutes before finally killing it. I step on the shrimp's body with one foot and stomp hard on its head with the other, snapping the spike right off. After that, I pick up the spike and peel the shrimp's shell off bit by bit. Looking at the translucent shrimp meat, I swallow hard. I wish I had fire. I'm not used to eating raw meat, especially raw meat from this unknown world. There's no way I'm eating it raw. The stomach cavity starts trembling slightly. The fish is swimming again. After putting the shrimp meat in the supply crate, I glance at the makeshift bandage on my arm. Blood has already seeped through. I know this basic treatment won't cut it, so I open the global chat in the system interface to see if I can trade for medical supplies to stop the bleeding. But most people are currently trying to trade for food, which makes me really nervous. Fortunately, after searching persistently, I finally spot a post-trading medical supplies. 1 medical hemostatic bandage, trade for 3 loaves of bread. Medical supplies are lifesavers. First come, first served. I frown and mutter, 3 loaves? That's highway robbery. But my arm is bleeding through. I can't wait any longer. Right now I only have 2 loaves, nowhere near enough to trade. So I click on that trader's profile and decide to negotiate. Friend, 3 loaves is too much. How about 1? The other person replies quickly, no way, this is life-saving stuff. Look at the exchange market. Who else is trading medical supplies? What's up, buddy? Are you injured? I don't plan to tell the truth to avoid them jacking up the price. Not really. I just have a strong sense of crisis, so I like to prepare ahead. Fair point, buddy. You're absolutely right. Then I won't trade my hemostatic bandage anymore. I'll keep it for emergencies. Thanks for the reminder. I panic immediately. Wait, friend. How about 2 loaves? Buddy, you're actually injured, aren't you? I see he figured it out. But thinking about it, it's only the second day in this world. And while most people are trading food, only I want medical supplies. That already gives it away. 2 loaves and 1 bottle of water? That's all the food I have left. If you still won't trade, there's nothing I can do. I send this message with finality, and it truly is all my food. If the trade goes through, I'll only have 2 bottles of water left. If today's 3 supply crates don't give me food, I'll have to survive on water alone. Bro, don't think people are that bad. I won't jack up the price. How about this? 1 loaf and 1 bottle of water, and we've got a deal. Seeing this message, my heart leaps with joy, but it feels a bit unreal. Did I actually run into a good person? Sure enough, the trade request changes to 1 loaf and 1 bottle of water. I click accept without hesitation. The bread and water in the supply crate flash with blue light and instantly vanish, replaced by a roll of hemostatic bandage. I grab it immediately, unwrap the fabric strip from my wound, grit my teeth and rinse the wound with half a bottle of water, then wrap the wound properly. The bleeding finally stops. At this moment, a private message pops up up on the system interface. Buddy, you see I didn't take advantage of you. Can you tell me how you got injured? I chuckle softly. This is a smart person, clearly trying to do me a favor, so I'll tell him how I got hurt. After all, the stomach cavity is surrounded by soft flesh walls. Getting injured is actually quite hard. So how I got injured is naturally important information. And I don't hide it, I tell him straight about the shrimp. Soon after the conversation ends, the sound of seawater comes from the esophageal passage, and I quickly move the algae oxygen generator next to the esophageal membrane, where the seawater impact is smallest. Then I place several supply crates on top of the oxygen generator, just high enough to stay above the water. This way, I won't have to fish out crates every time. After the seawater drains, a new supply crate arrives. Ding! Receive 10 stones, 10 portions of soil, 10 portions of licorice root. All materials? I need food. I only have 1 loaf of bread left. Sometime later, the fish swallows the second supply crate. Ding! Received mini planter blueprint. It's not food, but I'm still a bit excited. A planter, the name tells you it's for growing food, but I'm still missing some materials and can't craft it yet. A few hours later, the last supply crate washes in. Before opening it, I pray, please, give me food. Ding! Received 1 apple, 1 banana. Okay, it is food. It's fruit, not as filling as bread, but it'll barely get me to the day after tomorrow. At this moment, the fish's voice echoes in my head. Phew, I'm tired. Time to sleep. So I also settle in to rest. When the fish stirs again, I wake up too. Now all I have to do is wait for the fish to eat. In the meantime, I open the global chat to check on other survivors. Pros: I'm out of food. All I have left is a watermelon seed. Can someone help me out? Just trade for 1 loaf. A watermelon seed is absolutely useless. We don't even know how to plant anything yet. And you want to trade it for a whole loaf? Dude, stop begging. You've been shouting since yesterday. Right now, everyone gets 1 supply crate a day, and whether you get food is pure luck. Most people are short on food. Who's gonna trade you for a useless watermelon seed? Seeing this message, I think for a moment. The watermelon seed can definitely be planted in the planter. So I click on that person's profile and send a message. The other person replies quickly, "Boss, are you looking to trade for the watermelon seed?" "Yes, but I'm not trading bread. I'm offering raw shrimp meat." "No problem, as long as it's edible." "But boss, where did you get shrimp?" The person is clearly surprised. I briefly explain how I got the shrimp meat. I'm not used to eating raw meat, and it'll spoil in a few days. So I might as well trade it for your watermelon seed. "Thank you so much, boss." The next second, the watermelon seed trades over. Holy crap, this shrimp meat is huge. "Boss, my name's Marcus. If you ever need anything, just say the word." "No problem. Happy to help." After the pleasantries, I close the system interface. Sometime later, the fish starts eating, and I prepare to move algae, afraid of getting attacked by shrimp again. Today, I strap yesterday's shrimp shell onto my forearm for protection. Then, before moving algae each time, I carefully swipe through the algae pile. Sure enough, I encounter 3 shrimp, even more than yesterday. Thanks to the sharp spike, dealing with them this time is much easier. Shortly after, today's first supply crate rushes into the stomach cavity. Ding! Received canned peaches. My heart lifts. This is good. High sugar content, lots of energy. While happily waiting for the second crate, Marcus sends me a message. "Boss, do you still have any of that spike shell lobster meat?" I pause for a moment. "How do you know the shrimp is called spike shell lobster?" "It's in the creature archive. I stumbled on it by accident." I immediately open the archive. There really is a new creature entry. No wonder they're always hiding in the algae piles. Algae is their food. But immediately, a question pops into my head. Right. Why hasn't anyone else encountered spike shell lobsters? After some thought, I come up with a possibility. Could it be that because I help the fish speed up digestion every time, it's active much longer each day than other fish, so it's swum into waters where spike shell lobsters live? That must be it. Looks like I'm way ahead of everyone else. But this news doesn't make me happy. It actually worries me. The farther the fish gets from where it was born, the more sea creatures it'll encounter. If the fish swallows a creature I can't handle, I'm done for. Boss, this spike shell lobster meat is great stuff. Eating it adds 1 point to strength, so I'd like to trade a blueprint I just got for another piece of lobster meat. Seeing this message, I'm stunned. The lobster meat adds stats. What blueprint did you get? An armor blueprint. Spiked helmet. Looks like it's made from spike shell lobster shells. My heart leaps again. What a coincidence. A perfect match. An armor blueprint delivered right to my doorstep. I accept the trade without hesitation. Then I check it right away. Spiked helmet crafting requirements. 3 intact spike shell lobster shells. 5 cloth scraps. I have just enough shells, but I don't have cloth scraps yet. So I decide to see what today's crates give me first. If I don't get cloth, I'll trade for 5 in the exchange market. Then I take out a piece of spike shell lobster meat from the crate. planning to try it. Surprisingly, it tastes pretty good. Ding! Consumed spike shell lobster meat. Strength increased by 1. After hearing the system notification, I quickly opened my personal stats panel, and strength really did go up by 1. But I don't feel any change in my body, probably because it's only 1 point, so it's not noticeable. 2 or 3 hours later, today's second supply crate rushes into the stomach cavity. Ding! Received 10 stones, 10 wood, 10 cloth scraps. My heart lifts. Cloth scraps. Then I open the spiked helmet blueprint and click craft. The 3 lobster shells and 5 cloth scraps turn into blue light, and soon a helmet with 3 spikes on top appears in my hands. I try it on, it fits perfectly. Then I take it off and carefully place it in an empty supply crate, planning to wear it tomorrow when I move algae. At this moment, Marcus sends a message. Alex, I ate the spike shell lobster meat, but I didn't get a strength point this time. I nod in surprise. Looks like the lobster meat only adds strength the first time you eat it. Then Marcus's message carries an apologetic tone. Alex, the blueprint I traded you is actually pretty rare. So, could you throw in 1 more piece of lobster meat? I only had 2 pieces. I traded 1 to you and ate the other myself. How about tomorrow? If I get more, I'll give you another piece. I don't mind much. After all, an armor blueprint is definitely more valuable than 1 piece of lobster meat. Still, I can't be sure if Marcus is telling the truth. If eating a second piece still gave him strength and he's lying to me, that's entirely possible. So, I'll eat the remaining piece of lobster meat tomorrow. And only after confirming it doesn't add strength will I trade it to Marcus. Soon after, the sound of churning seawater comes from the esophageal passage. Today's last supply crate arrives. Ding. Received 1 heating pack. My heart leaps. Does this mean I can cook the lobster meat tomorrow? But I quickly dismiss the idea. No. This heating pack can only be used once, and using it to cook my only piece of shrimp meat would be too wasteful. When I wake again, it's already my 4th day in this world. The first thing I do is eat the spike shell lobster meat for breakfast. Marcus really didn't lie to me. It truly doesn't add strength anymore. I'm slightly disappointed. Sometime later, the fish starts eating. I put on yesterday's spiked helmet and wait to move algae. But right now, I unexpectedly hear the fish's childish voice. So annoying. Why are there so many of these things? Always stealing my food. The fish sounds really angry. The algae-eating spike shell lobsters must be competing with it for food. Looks like there'll be lots of lobsters in the algae today. I'll need to be careful when moving it. And it seems the fish has swum into waters with a huge lobster population. Suddenly, the entire stomach cavity shakes violently, then starts tilting, and finally almost stands upright. Caught off guard, I slam into the flesh wall, but fortunately the wall is soft. So aside from some dizziness, I'm not injured anywhere else. But all the seawater in the algae oxygen generator spills out, and the supply crates I've accumulated these past days scatter everywhere. Then I grab 1 supply crate tightly, because it contains the canned peaches and heating pack. These precious items can't get damaged. Right now, my mind races with questions and panic. What's happening? Is the fish being attacked by another creature? Even though the fish is massive, in this unknown world, it could still encounter something even bigger. Suddenly, boom! A thunderous explosion pierces through the fish's body, reaching the stomach cavity, and powerful sound waves sweep over my entire body. My head feels like it's been struck hard, a splitting headache, stealing my food. 1 tail slap and you're all gone. The fish's sudden thought makes everything clear at once. Well, it's swatting lobsters. Right now, my anxious heart settles and the stomach cavity returns to normal. After resting a bit, I stand the algae oxygen generator back up. Though there's hardly any seawater left inside, the fish will eat soon and refill it. I gather the scattered supply crates 1 by 1. At this moment, the fish starts eating, and seawater rushes in. I immediately open the system interface, locate the algae oxygen generator, and click repair. Seawater automatically flows in. Then I begin today's algae moving work, while being careful not to get stabbed by spike shell lobsters. But after moving everything, to my surprise and delight, there are 10 dead spike shell lobsters in the algae, clearly all killed by the fish's slap. The sound of its tail swinging almost killed me from the shockwave alone. Its power is unimaginable. Plus, this is just the fish's first feeding today, and I've already got 10, so by the time it finishes eating today, won't I have at least 50 or 60 total? But I'm thinking, if I just pile up the lobsters like this, the next wave of seawater will wash them away. So I come up with an idea. Make another algae oxygen generator, then arrange them in a V-shape against the stomach wall, and use the triangular space in the middle to store lobsters. An extra oxygen generator won't hurt, and I have plenty of materials anyway. Soon, the second feeding begins. I pile the lobsters in the corner and shield them with my body against the seawater. Then I open the algae oxygen generator blueprint and successfully craft a second one. Next, just as planned, I arrange them in a V-shape. That perfectly encloses the 10 lobsters. And now, it's my 4th day in this world. While the fish is eating, an unknown creature several meters long appears in the seawater flowing into the stomach. Even worse, my flashlight's battery runs out at this exact moment, and the stomach cavity plunges into complete darkness. The next moment, the unknown creature leaps from the water and lunges at me. I can't help but strain my eyes trying to see, but it's futile. The unknown terror magnifies endlessly in the darkness. Suddenly, crack! My head takes a violent impact, and I feel what seems like some creature's claws gripping hard onto my spiked helmet, making a sharp scraping sound. Extreme fear numbs my entire body, and my left hand holding the spike trembles uncontrollably. I keep telling myself to stay calm. Suddenly, I feel something wrap around my neck, and the slimy, slippery sensation makes my scalp tingle instantly. In the pitch darkness, I instinctively think it's a massive monster's tentacle. Then it starts constricting, and I immediately struggle to breathe, my face flushing with blood. This feeling of imminent death makes my adrenaline surge instantly, and the fear and numbness mostly vanish, replaced by boundless rage. With a wet thunk, I swing my left hand hard and stab the spike into that thing, not caring if I might accidentally stab my own neck. The unknown monster immediately lets out a sharp, hissing screech, and I realize the sound is coming from above my head. So I frantically swing the spike upward with my right hand, and quickly manage to slash the creature apart. The severed part thrashes wildly, spraying foul-smelling liquid all over my face. Then, the appendage wrapped around my neck falls away. Sometime later, the monster goes completely still, but the claws on my head still grip my spiked helmet firmly. At this moment, the adrenaline slowly wears off, and the fear returns, leaving me too terrified to move rashly. I wait until all the seawater drains before gathering the courage to hand crank my flashlight. The moment the light shines, I see a severed creature's body draped over the algae oxygen generator, dripping blood. Then I take off my helmet and see 4 anchor-shaped sharp teeth embedded deep in it. Seeing the creature's full appearance, cold sweat instantly breaks out on my back. It didn't bite through my skull purely by luck. The helmet can't actually stop this monster's fangs. The only reason I'm okay is because of the 3 spikes on top of the helmet, which created distance between the monster's teeth and the helmet's main body, preventing it from biting through. Right now, still shaken, I think to myself, Marcus really saved my life. Then I open the creature archive section in the system interface, and sure enough, I find this monster, tendril bloodworm. Length 2 to 3 meters. Food type, blood. Description, a parasite living inside giant creatures. Sharp teeth can easily crush an adult skull. Teeth can be crafted into tools. Reading the description, I feel even more terrified. Surviving this time was pure luck, getting and crafting the spiked helmet blueprint ahead of time. Suddenly, churning seawater sounds from the esophageal passage, and I remember the fish hasn't finished eating yet. So I quickly pry the bloodworm's head off the helmet and toss it aside, then put the helmet back on. Also, I don't leave the triangular space between the oxygen generators, and fortunately, until the fish finishes eating, I don't encounter any more bloodworms. Only then do I come out to start moving algae and collecting spike shell lobsters. During this time, every so often, I recharge the flashlight to ensure enough power for emergencies. I really don't want to experience encountering an unknown creature in darkness again. Half an hour later, all the algae is moved into the digestion pit, and I also toss the bloodworm's body in to get rid of it. After counting, I've obtained 58 spike shell lobsters today. 8 of them are still alive and weren't hit by the fish, so their shells are intact and can be used to craft spiked helmets. The remaining 50 have badly shattered shells, completely unusable, so I decide to trade them in the exchange market later. Then I open the system interface and click on Marcus's profile, and directly send him 3 spike shell lobsters as a gift, plus a freshly crafted spiked helmet. Sometime later, today's first supply crate arrives. Ding! Received 1 iron ore, 1 copper ore, sand and stone powder. I'm slightly surprised. I can actually get metal ore. Next, I plan to trade spike shell lobster meat with other survivors. Doing some quick math, today is my 4th day in this world, and other survivors only get 1 supply crate per day. So including the one the system gave on day 1, they currently have 5 total. Meanwhile, with me speeding up digestion, the fish swims about 3 times the distance of other survivors' fish each day. I encountered spike shell lobsters on day 2, so after calculating, I'm guessing some people should be encountering them today. With that in mind, I immediately open global chat, and sure enough, people are discussing it. Holy crap, shrimp, dozens of centimeters long. Has anyone else seen these? And there are even more skeptics below, dude. Are you hallucinating from hunger? Clearly, only a few people have encountered spike shell lobsters so far. So a sense of urgency rises within me because in a few more days, all other survivors will encounter them. And by then, the lobster's value will plummet. So without much hesitation, I divide my 50 spike shell lobsters into 5 different different trade types and list them in the exchange market. Each type offers 10 lobsters. Type 1, 1 blueprint for 1 lobster. Type 2, 1 can plus bread and 1 bottle of water for 1 lobster. Type 3, 1 medical item for 1 lobster. Type 4, 10 metal ore for 1 lobster. Type 5, 50 basic materials for 1 lobster. Then I post in global chat, selling spike shell lobster meat. Check exchange market, eating spike shell lobster meat increases strength by 1 point. Limited quantity, first come, first served. The moment I post, the chat explodes. Some doubt me, others debate. Did you lose your mind playing games? Add strength? Idiot. Whether he's crazy or not, I don't know, but you're definitely the idiot. There's a character stats panel in the system interface. Isn't that exactly what it's for? And so, many people start considering whether to trade with me, or debating which of my 5 trade types is the best deal. Soon, other survivors start trading with me one after another, and before long, I've successfully traded 43 lobsters. The remaining 7 are all for blueprint trades, which clearly shows blueprints are very rare. Plus, most people who get blueprints will definitely consider keeping them for themselves first. 3 hours later, the fish has already swallowed the second supply crate. But still, no one has traded blueprints. So helplessly, I figure I'll just trade these 7 for basic materials. Then I casually open the second supply crate. Ding! Received 3 bottles of water. I glance at the massive pile of materials I've traded for, and mutter with a smile. Not bad, though I'm definitely not short on water anymore. Next, I check the 3 blueprints I traded for. Wooden platform blueprint, iron dagger blueprint, spiked leg armor blueprint. My attention immediately goes to the spiked leg armor blueprint. Looks like it and the spiked helmet are part of the same set. I wonder if I can collect the whole thing. Then I use all 3 blueprints directly. Wooden platform blueprint requires 20 wood. Iron dagger blueprint requires 1 iron nail, 1 wood. I pause. Where am I supposed to find an iron nail? Looks like I won't be making this dagger anytime soon. Spiked leg armor blueprint requires 8 spike shell lobster shells, 10 cloth scraps. Though I only have 5 shells right now, I should be able to craft it tomorrow. After checking the blueprints, next I look at the food I traded. 10 canned goods, 10 loaves of bread, 10 bottles of water. Food's no problem for a while. 9 medical items, all hemostatic bandages, plus 1 box of anti-inflammatory pills. Metal ore totals 100. 50 iron ore, 50 copper ore. Finally, basic materials total 500 portions. Next, I decide to craft a wooden platform to see what it looks like. I open the blueprint and click craft. A platform supported by 4 wooden stakes immediately appears before me, and I shout with delight. This height is just above the seawater. I won't have to be soaked in seawater several times a day anymore. These past days, I've been constantly wet and sticky. It's been awful. While thrilled, I'm also a bit worried. Is the wooden platform sturdy enough? Will the seawater wash it away? So I push hard on it and discover the platform's 4 stakes seem to have fused with the stomach cavity. They won't budge at all. After that, I craft 6 wooden platforms in a row, forming a 2x3 platform. Then I move all the supply crates onto the platform, no more worrying about them getting washed away. Then I remember the mini planter blueprint. Could I not craft it before because I didn't have a platform? Thinking this, my eyes light up, and I immediately click to craft the mini planter. It works. Then I plant the watermelon seed in the mini planter. But there's no sunlight here. I wonder how long the watermelon will take to mature. With nothing else to do, I lie down directly on the dry wooden platform to rest. 3 hours later, the 3rd supply crate arrives. I wait for the seawater to drain before jumping down to open it. Ding! Received Abyssal Leviathan Archive Fragment. I can roughly guess what this archive does. It records types of food that accelerate the fish's growth, but right now it's just 1 fragment, so it's not useful yet. The next day, when the fish eats, I also wake up on the platform. Remembering yesterday's bloodworm attack, I immediately retreat to the farthest edge of the platform to avoid being dragged into the water. After carefully scanning back and forth, I find no sign of bloodworms swimming in the water, and immediately breathe a sigh of relief. But soon, another surprise appears. 2 points of light slowly glow in the water, like 2 eyes staring at me intently. After the seawater drains the light source's surface, 2 glowing spherical creatures. I approach cautiously, then pull out the spike from my waist and poke it, and the glow gradually dims. I instinctively step back in case this is some kind of attack, but it seems uninterested in me, just wiggling its 4 tentacles underneath to right itself, and then its dimmed body glows again. I can't help wondering, what creature is this? Then I immediately open the creature archive. Glow orb parasite, length 10 centimeters, food type blood. Assessment, a bioluminescent parasite with no aggression, perhaps useful for lighting. I'm a bit speechless. Another parasite. Still, it's way cuter than the bloodworm. Then I suddenly think of something. Its name is glow orb parasite. So does that mean it can provide sunlight for the watermelon seed? Thinking this, I can't help getting excited and carefully pick it up from the ground. The 4 tentacles start waving around because they can't feed on blood, and its glow quickly fades. Next, I go to the mini planter and bring the glow orb close to the nearby stomach wall, and the 4 tentacles immediately latch on. As it feeds on blood, it glows again. I silently pray. I hope it works and helps the watermelon seed sprout. I grab the other glow orb and attach it too. Soon after, the fish finishes its first feeding. This time, I don't encounter attacking creatures like bloodworms, just 5 spike shell lobsters, which I quickly deal with. After moving the algae, I open global chat to check on other survivors. Sure enough, most people have encountered spike shell lobsters. Plus, there's very bad news. Someone has realized and suggested, does moving algae into the digestion pit increase the fish's swimming distance? Once this is said, global chat erupts into heated discussion. This makes a strong sense of crisis surge within me. If everyone else discovers this method, my advantage will vanish completely. At this moment, today's first supply crate washes in with the seawater. Ding! Received 1 ironclad behemoth extermination pass. I pause. What's this? It's the size of a bill, entirely golden. Then, a system notification sounds in my head. Ironclad behemoth extermination pass. Upon use, you can enter an adult ironclad behemoth's body. To eliminate all parasites in its stomach cavity, you can return after completing the mission. Any items obtained in the ironclad behemoth's stomach cavity can be brought back. After the system notification ends, I mutter. Looks like a ticket to some kind of game dungeon, but I'm not in a rush to use it, because with my current strength and equipment, even dealing with 1 bloodworm is tough. Then I continue watching other survivors' discussion. Now they've confirmed the theory that actively moving algae speeds up the fish's digestion, but the stomach cavity's thin oxygen levels are still a problem for them. If they don't have an algae oxygen generator like I do, then expending energy to move algae will cause them to die from oxygen deprivation. At this moment, someone suggests, the oxygen problem should have a solution. As long as someone gets a blueprint for an oxygen-producing item, then this algae-moving method can be implemented. Seeing this person's comment, my gaze drifts to the algae oxygen generator in the corner behind me. After some thought, I decide to mass-produce them, sell at high prices, and only accept blueprints in exchange. I need to maximize their value before others get the oxygen generator blueprint. So I post in global chat. Looks like I got lucky. I just got an algae oxygen generator blueprint. Holy crap! Seriously, that's insane luck. Bro, are you selling the blueprint? Name your price. Only a fool would sell it to you. Bro, craft one and sell it to me. I'll pay well. And so, everyone starts asking me about the price of the oxygen generator. I'm not in a rush to sell. I decide to do some hunger marketing first. Everyone, don't rush. I'm not planning to sell today. After all, I don't know how much oxygen this generator produces yet. So I'll test its effectiveness for the next 2 days and sell the day after tomorrow. Though I say this, there are still a few people in private messages trying to buy early. A few hours later, private messages reach over 10,000. I directly propose the condition of trading for blueprints, which quickly deters most people. In the end, only 8 people agree, but I'm still very pleased. Then, close to the end of the next feeding, I craft 8 oxygen generators with the algae left in the stomach and successfully trade for 8 blueprints. Soon after, the second supply crate arrives. Ding! Received 1 sweet potato seed. At this moment, my mood lifts even more because seeds are what can guarantee a stable food supply. So I craft another mini planter and water it with half a bottle. Then I feast. Now that I have plenty of food, there's no need to go hungry. At this moment, a private message arrives. Hello, my name is Adrian, the one who suggested the algae moving theory in global chat. I'd like to trade for an oxygen generator if that's possible. Reading this message, I literally laugh in disbelief. So she's the one who might end my advantage, and she still dares to come trade with me. Sorry, not interested. Adrian replies persistently. I'll trade you a blueprint, and I can even provide any materials you need. Still no, not trading. But she still doesn't give up. I know you want to use this opportunity to stay ahead of everyone else. But in this unknown world, being far ahead alone isn't a good thing. The farther you go, the closer danger gets. I alone can't help you directly, but we can warn each other and prepare early. Looking at this message, I think, indeed, I nearly died when I encountered the bloodworm. If someone had warned me in advance, I could have prepared. That feeling of being close to death, I really don't want to experience it again. And so, she convinces me. All right. You make a good point. I'll trade you one. Pleasure doing business. After the blueprint trade's over, I open it to check. It's a fairly valuable weapon. The fish has finished eating for today, so I plan to rest as well. Before sleeping, I glance at the mini planter I've been hoping for. It's already sprouted. My face instantly lights up with delight. The glow orbs really can substitute for sunlight. But then another question appears in my mind. These things are parasites feeding on the fish's blood after all, so if I collect too many, they'll definitely harm the fish. So I decide to only keep 10 from now on and kill any extras. When I wake the next day, I see the sprouted watermelon seedling has already grown to over 10 centimeters, and the sweet potato has grown 5 or 6 centimeters. I'm instantly overjoyed. Food self-sufficiency is almost here. Next, I put on the spiked helmet and craft spiked leg armor with 8 spiked shell lobster shells and 10 cloth scraps. Then I open yesterday's 8 traded blueprints, and among them are actually 4 pieces of the spiked shell lobster armor set: spiked belt, spiked boots, spiked bracers, spiked groin guard. At this moment, my face breaks into a smile again, and I check the materials needed for these blueprints. The spiked armor set is no problem. I should be able to craft all of it soon. I currently have 10 shells left, so I decisively craft the spiked groin guard and spiked boots. Now, wearing 4 pieces of equipment, I clearly feel my body getting heavy. This makes me realize a problem. If I add the other 2 pieces I haven't crafted yet, my body probably can't handle it. Then I open my personal stats panel, which shows everyone's normal stat value is 10, and my strength is clearly weak. In other words, to wear a full set of equipment smoothly, I need to find a way to increase strength. Doing rough calculations, I need to raise strength to at least 15 points. Soon after, seawater rushes in, and today's first supply crate is coming. Suddenly, something shoots through the water below, kicking up a trail of splashes on the surface. I reflexively retreat to the inner part of the wooden platform and search for the creature's shadow. Right now, my expression is extremely serious. I thought creatures only came in with algae during feeding, but it seems creatures can also enter when the fish swallows supply crates. Fortunately, that thing doesn't seem to have any intention of attacking me, but rather desperately wants to escape this cramped space. Sometime later, all the seawater drains, and I see a 1-meter-long glowing band, bouncing continuously on the ground, until soon it seems to run out of energy and its glow gradually dims. So I cautiously walk over. Pick it up! It's not very heavy, about 40 or 50 pounds. Then I open the creature archive. Silver-scale dartfish, length 1 meter. Description: smooth skin, extremely fast in water. If struck, minor injuries affect bones and muscles. Severe injuries affect internal organs. Firm, bouncy meat. Skin can be used to craft diving suits. Reading the description, I'm grateful I already crafted the platform. If I'd been hit by this in the water, the consequences would be unthinkable. Also, I learned this fish is edible. I wonder if it adds stat points like the spike shell lobster. This makes me nervous. What I need most right now is to increase strength. Then I use the spiked blade to make it into sashimi, and after eating 1/3, the system sounds ding, consumed silver scale dartfish. Constitution increased by 1, agility increased by 1. My face lights up. It added 2 stats. Though not the strength I hoped for, adding 2 stats at once still makes me happy. At this moment, Marcus sends me a message. Alex, thanks for the spike shell lobsters and helmet you gave me the other day. I just got a recipe, so I'm sending it to you now. My eyes immediately light up. It's a fertilizer recipe. Perfect timing. With fertilizer, I can accelerate crop growth in the planters and reach food self-sufficiency sooner. Bing! Basic fertilizer recipe requires crafting and fermentation barrel, plus 5 portions of licorice root, 5 portions of fish waste. I pause. I have the fermentation barrel and licorice, but where do I find fish waste? Can I get waste from the digestion pit? Thinking this, I suddenly remember the waste scoop blueprint I got earlier, and it clicks. The waste scoop must be for scooping fish waste from the digestion pit. So I decisively craft it with 5 wood, then add 5 portions of licorice to the fermentation barrel. I go to the edge of the digestion pit and dip the waste scoop in. When I pull it out, the cylinder at the end is full of green sticky substance. This must be the fish waste. Then I pour it all into the fermentation barrel. The smell is truly strong, so I quickly grab the barrel's lid and cover it. Next, I just wait quietly for the fertilizer to finish. During the time after, I take the weapon blueprint I traded from Adrian and craft it. It's a fairly long bone blade, much better than the previous spiked blade. Then I list the silver scale dartfish in the exchange market, hoping to trade it for rare blueprints. Next, I craft a large number of algae oxygen generators and go crazy trading for basic materials in global chat. By now, most people already know me, and some are even speculating whether I got some kind of special ability. How else could I have so many advanced resources? After that, I used today's traded spiked shell lobster shells to successfully craft the spiked chest plate, which weighs about 40 pounds. But no matter how heavy, I have to wear it. At least it protects my body. Before sleeping, I check the planter, and the sprouted watermelon seed has already grown vines, which lifts my mood greatly. When I wake again, it's my 7th day in this world. The first thing I do is open the fermentation barrel's lid, and dark green fertilizer balls fly straight out. I quickly dodge in fright. Then a notification sounds in my head. Ding! Receive 10 portions of basic fertilizer. Using it shortens crop growth time by 10%. My face lights up. Then I decisively grab a supply crate and without hesitation put 8 portions inside. After that, I go to the mini planter and try tossing the remaining 2 fertilizer balls into the planter. The fertilizer balls immediately melt into dark green liquid upon touching the soil and seep right in. The fertilizing must have worked. Pretty convenient. Soon after, churning seawater sounds from the esophageal passage. The fish starts eating. I quickly grip the bone blade, crouch in a ready stance, and prepare for potential dangers ahead. Suddenly, the water surface churns violently, and a flesh-colored worm-like body that makes my heart race appears before me. Another bloodworm! My heart skips a beat. This thing nearly killed me before. Every time I think back, I'm still shaken. The feeling of fear surges again, and my hand holding the bone blade trembles involuntarily. My stamina is also draining bit by bit because the spiked armor on my body is too heavy, and I've been maintaining this combat-ready crouch. Time passes slowly. Finally, the water level starts dropping, meaning the fish is finished eating. Once all the seawater drains, I'll be much safer. Just as I breathe a sigh of relief, the water suddenly explodes, and a huge mouth lunges out and bites my helmet. Though I'm startled, I quickly calm down, because the 3 spikes on top of the spiked helmet once again block its mouth parts. Then, without hesitation, I swing the bone blade in my hand hard and slash fiercely at the body before me. This weapon is far better than the last spike. One slash sinks halfway into the body. Then massive amounts of disgusting liquid flow out, and a piercing screech comes from above my head. Unfazed, I swing the bone blade again, and just as I'm about to completely sever its body, the water explodes again. Suddenly, another bloodworm bites my spiked leg armor. Then an enormous pulling force drags me sideways straight into the water. My heart races with terror as I try to surface to breathe, but the pulling force on my head and legs is strong, and I'm wearing the heavy spiked armor, making it even harder to surface. Time passes bit by bit, and the suffocating feeling grows stronger. In such a desperate situation, I know I can only fight. So I steel myself and use every ounce of strength I have, slashing fiercely with the bone blade at the bloodworm biting my head. I don't know if it's because it's already badly injured, but after just 2 slashes, it releases my head. My heart leaps, and I recklessly drop the bone blade, then frantically wave both hands, slowly bringing my body to the surface. Then I breathe in oxygen desperately. But immediately, the other bloodworm violently drags me back underwater. Caught off guard, I gulp down several mouthfuls of seawater. Then, flailing my arms, I struggle desperately and surface again, but I barely cough once before being dragged back under. And so I begin bobbing up and down, arms thrashing continuously. I know that as long as the injured bloodworm doesn't attack me, I can keep stalling with the one latched onto my thigh. Once the seawater drains, it'll be time to fight back. Finally, all the seawater drains. The bloodworm has no leverage left and can't drag me anymore, though its 4 anchor-shaped teeth still bite my leg. Fortunately, the leg armor's defense blocks its sharp mouth parts, and I'm completely relieved. Knowing I'm safe now, a wave of exhaustion instantly sweeps over my entire body. Then I search for the bloodworm I slashed. But when I look, I'm suddenly wide awake, because that injured bloodworm is lying on the ground, feeding on the fish's blood. I immediately cry out in alarm. Then, with strength from nowhere, I break free from the restraints on my legs and grab the bone blade I'd thrown aside. A few quick slashes take down the tendril bloodworm at my feet. I rush toward the one still feeding. Several more strikes finally kill it. The glow orb parasites are small, so their blood-sucking is manageable. But with mouths this massive, letting a tendril bloodworm feed unchecked would be disastrous. I carefully pry the teeth attached to the stomach wall. A tennis ball-sized circular wound appears on the stomach wall. Furious, I kick the tendril bloodworm aside. Now the problem is how to stop the bleeding. Suddenly, inspiration strikes. I can use a glow orb parasite. I quickly climb the ladder and catch one, then press it over the wound. Its 4 small tentacles latch firmly onto the surrounding stomach wall, sealing the wound completely. I am thrilled. The method actually worked. With all crises resolved, overwhelming exhaustion crashes over me, but I still can't rest. The Leviathan's feeding phase isn't over, and the next wave of seawater is coming. I realized the spiked armor set, though heavy, protected me perfectly during the attack. The importance of equipment is undeniable. I also realize there's no need to observe when seawater fills the stomach. I can simply hide and wait for the water to drain completely. Then check for any creatures that entered. The hiding spot? Behind the stone algae oxygen generator. The first time I encountered a tendril bloodworm underwater, I stood in the corner space formed by the generator. That's what blocked the creature's underwater attack. So I haul the algae oxygen generator onto the wooden platform, severely compressing the already small 6 square meter area. Now only about 2 square meters of space remain. At this moment, I seem to have exhausted my last bit of strength. I feel utterly drained, with no energy left to move seaweed. After a while, the fish feeds again. I hide behind the algae oxygen generator as planned, staying there until the entire feeding phase ends. No incidents occur during this time. After eating the high-sugar canned food and resting extensively, my energy recovers significantly. Once I confirm no large creatures are present, I climb down and begin moving seaweed with peace of mind. 2 hours later, the seaweed is finally moved. I climb onto the cramped platform to rest. 3 hours until the fish's next feeding. Then Adrian messages me, Alex. I want to trade something with you. I have no fondness for this person, and I'm already exhausted. So I reply directly. If you want a second algae oxygen generator, you'll need to trade blueprints. Alex, you've got it wrong. I want 20 algae oxygen generators and a full set of spike shell lobster armor. I laugh in disbelief. Is this person delusional? Why don't you take a look at what I'm offering first? Golden silk fruit, the seed of golden silk seaweed. Eating it grants +5 strength. Reading this, my whole body trembles. 5 points of strength, exactly what I desperately need right now. With those 5 points, I can easily handle the heavy spiked armor set. It's now day 7 in this world, and I already have a complete set of spike shell lobster armor, but it weighs 100 kilograms total, creating a huge burden with my low strength stat. So I trade on the exchange market for a plant called golden silk seaweed. Its fruit grants +5 strength when consumed. This is exactly what I need. I open the seaweed planter box blueprint I traded for earlier and craft it. A planter twice the size of the algae oxygen generator appears before me. 2 hours later, when the fish swallows today's second supply crate, the seaweed planter box automatically fills with seawater. I carefully plant the golden silk seaweed inside. Then I open the supply crate. Ding! Equipment slot acquired. I freeze! A notification appears on my personal stats panel. Opening it, I find a new box on the interface, and a voice announces, the equipment slot can store 1 piece of equipment or weapon. Joy floods through me. I try placing my heaviest piece, the spiked chest plate, into the slot. After a flash of blue light, the spiked armor vanishes from my body and appears in the equipment slot. With another thought, the spiked chest plate reappears on my body. I can't help but marvel. This equipment slot is incredible, and I should be able to acquire more. During the 3 hours waiting for the next supply crate, I continue crafting algae oxygen generators, trading them on the exchange market for basic materials. By now, other survivors know that without self-generating oxygen, they'll suffocate while moving seaweed to aid the fish's digestion. So my daily trade volume is enormous. My basic materials now nearly fill my 20-plus supply crates. This troubles me. Where will I store the rest? Just then, the fish delivers today's 3rd supply crate, containing a storage locker blueprint. I stare, stunned. Then ecstatic joy hits. Heaven is helping me. I open the blueprint. Storage locker blueprint requires 20 wood. Perfect! Not many materials needed. I immediately craft it. 20 pieces of wood fly out from the supply crate, assembling in midair into a 2-meter-tall, 1-meter-wide wooden cabinet. According to the blueprint description, the storage locker has 100 internal slots, each holding up to 100 units of resources, meaning one storage locker can hold 10,000 basic resources. My current basic materials total only around 3,000, less than half the locker's capacity. Most importantly, the storage locker takes up minimal space. Once placed, I immediately transfer everything from my 22 supply crates into it, then toss the empty crates into the digestion pit. Day 8 in this world. As soon as I wake, I check the golden silk seaweed. No changes in the planter. I'm slightly disappointed, but not surprised. A fruit that grants +5 strength surely takes longer to grow than other crops. Next, I approach the mini planter, and am delighted to see flowers blooming on the watermelon vines. At this rate, it won't be long before I'm eating sweet watermelon. The supply crates mostly contain dry bread, with occasional fruits and canned goods I can't bring myself to eat. I've been eating so much bread these past days, I'm sick of it, I mutter. When can my meals improve? I desperately crave something salty. These past days, both my body's need for salt and my taste buds' craving for savory flavors make me recall the delicious food I once ate. A few hours later, the fish finishes feeding. I check the fish's current status. Abyssal Leviathan, age 9 days, juvenile stage, 35 meters long. Rating, a 220-ton baby. crazy. In just 8 days, the Leviathan has grown 5 meters. If I feed it more, will it grow even faster and swim farther? Others now know that moving seaweed aids the Leviathan's digestion. Though I'm ahead, the others are matching my pace. In a survival world, I must expand my lead. Without hesitation, I craft a second storage locker, then purchase 10,000 units of low-value seaweed on the exchange market, storing it all inside. Only then do I sleep contentedly. When I wake again, it's day 9 in this world. Something terrifying appears on global chat. The survivor count in the upper right corner begins dropping rapidly. At first, it falls by dozens, then hundreds. But soon, tens of thousands die per second. I figure the timing. Others must be encountering tendril bloodworms. Those who survived paid a heavy price. They begin flooding global chat, asking how I survived the crisis. Seeing these messages, my eyes light up. This is the moment I've been waiting for. I have Marcus spread the word on the exchange market. Spiked helmets can block tendril bloodworm attacks to the head. The channel explodes, and people frantically seek out Marcus to buy. I lend him the spiked helmet blueprint and have him mass-produce and trade them daily. Each helmet costs 100 basic materials or 10 units of food or bottled water. Metal ore can substitute for materials. This way, I massively expand my inventory again, sharing some with Marcus. When today's second supply crate arrives, opening it yields instant noodles. Pure joy floods my face. Finally, something salty. In my current survival situation, this isn't just beef-flavored noodles, it's a beef hot pot feast. I sit on a supply crate, fill the noodles with water, then retrieve a heating pack from days ago and place it underneath. I slice spike shell lobster meat and add it in, enjoying an incredibly satisfying hot pot meal. The happiest day since arriving in this world. On day 10, unexpected trouble strikes again. The supply crate doesn't arrive at its usual time. I wait an extra hour. Still nothing. Yet other survivors are already showing off their new items on global chat. This means I'm the only one with a problem. I urgently try to figure out why. Just then, the esophageal passage membrane suddenly opens. I snap alert and look over, thinking the supply crate finally arrived. But the entrance doesn't flood with seawater like before. My mind races. What's going on? This has never happened before. Suddenly, the fish's thoughts echo in my mind. Finally found a treasure cave. Why isn't the little human coming out? I am shocked. The fish knew I was living in its stomach all along, and now it wants me to temporarily leave and search for treasures outside. But anxiety grips me. After so many days, this will be my first time seeing the unknown world outside. Venturing out knowing nothing is clearly dangerous. But since the fish specifically mentioned a treasure cave, this trip is mandatory. I first craft a wooden shield and place it in my equipment slot. Then equip my spiked armor and grip the bone blade, fully prepared. I slowly enter the esophageal passage. Looking around, the passage's diameter is about 1.5 meters. I need to crouch to pass through. The ground is slippery, so I move carefully. After about 7 or 8 meters, the space opens up dramatically, though equally pitch black. But I'm not afraid. I'm in the fish's mouth now. The safest place in this world is inside its body. Walking another 5 or 6 meters forward, I see a white wall with a texture like bristles. Reaching out to touch it up close, the entire wall consists of long filaments. But unlike soft bristles, they're tough like bamboo strips. I guess these are the Leviathan's filter-feeding baleen. To exit, I must climb over this wall. Fortunately, it's only 2 meters high. A small jump, and I'm up. A rock wall appears before me. Walking on the baleen, I feel along the rock wall until finally, I find a cave only 1 meter in diameter. The dark, cramped environment makes my heart pound. This must be the treasure cave entrance, but the space inside is extremely small. To enter, I'll have to crawl. If danger strikes, even turning around will be difficult. But then I think, no matter high risk, high reward. To survive in this world, facing danger is necessary. Recalling previous life and death experiences, I know there's never been a safe way to survive here. So, holding the wooden shield above me, I decisively crawl into the cave. The cave interior is entirely rock. Crawling on the ground, I keep the wooden shield in front to block any monster attacks. After crawling about 10 meters, sweat soaks my forehead. After another 10 meters, the surroundings grow increasingly damp. Water begins pooling on the ground. The deeper I crawl, the higher the water level rises, eventually filling half the cave's space. This makes things worse. My body's submerged in water while my head strains upward. The position is unbearably uncomfortable. More importantly, I don't know what strange creatures might lurk in the water. Suddenly, splat, something drops on my head. I quickly feel it. A glob of translucent slime. Disgusted, I shake it off. But then something underwater brushes past my arm. Startled, I jolt like I've been electrocuted, jerking my hand upward. Water splashes loudly, echoing continuously through the silent cave. I forcibly calm myself. The murky water and dim light make it impossible to see what's beneath the surface. So I look up toward where the slime dropped from. The sight revolts me. The cave ceiling is covered in that slime, looking like some creature crawled across it. But I swallow my disgust and continue forward. As I go deeper, the slime becomes more abundant, even coating the underwater ground. The slime makes my hands and feet slip, preventing me from getting traction. This slows my crawling speed even more, and I fall into the water several times, so I decide to rest for a bit. But shortly after resting, I hear a faint sound, like something slowly crawling on the rock wall. I quickly turn my head, searching for the source. Finally, on the ceiling, I spot a flat, soft-bodied creature. It's completely transparent with visible organs about 20 centimeters long. The creature's overall appearance isn't terrifying, and it seems to have no intent to attack, just slowly crawling along the rock wall, leaving a long trail of slime. I ignore it. Having rested enough, it's time to continue. But just then, the water ahead suddenly churns with massive waves. My barely calmed heart leaps back into my throat. Clearly, some large creature is rushing toward me. The next second, even heavier waves crash forward. This time I'm nearly knocked over. I know the creature is almost here. My heart pounds in my throat. Suddenly, a terrifying impact slams into the wooden shield. I can't block it. My entire body slides backward more than a meter. My organs shake from the impact, my consciousness blanking momentarily. The emergency makes me forget the pain. I immediately thrust the bone blade hard around the shield's edge, but there's a clang, a crisp sound of hard objects colliding on the massive creature. I think it's over. The bone blade clearly can't handle this creature. Its head is hard as rock. The massive creature seems to realize my shield provides protection, so it begins spinning its body frantically. Thunderous rumbling fills the cave. The wooden shield emits tearing sounds. My heart sinks to rock bottom, like a lamb awaiting slaughter. I know once the shield breaks, I'm dead. In desperation, I message Marcus, send me a wooden shield now. Without a word, Marcus quickly crafts and sends one. I drop the bone blade and hold the shield with my right hand too, thinking I can only outlast this creature. After all, it can't keep spinning forever, right? But I can keep requesting wooden shields from Marcus. Even so, my chances feel slim. Holding the shield requires strength. I don't think I can outlast a massive creature. Time passes slowly. Over 10 wooden shields are destroyed. I'm exhausted to my limit. Death feels near, but I'm not afraid. This was my choice. Crack! The wooden shield breaks completely. I finally see the massive creature's full form. Its body fills 80% of the entire cave. It looks like an earthworm overall, with a sharp triangular bone spike on its armored head. By spinning that spike, it shredded over 10 of my shields. Then I see the armor split down the middle, revealing the creature's hidden mouthparts packed with sharp, thin teeth. At this moment, I accept my fate and stop resisting, feeling that waiting for death is torture. But just as the massive creature is about to bite me, a massive cry invades the entire cave, causing violent tremors. The next second, the fish's thoughts echo. "You little worm are truly hateful, daring to block my human's path. Get lost." Hearing this, the massive worm's biting motion freezes. Its terrifying maw immediately retracts, then it trembles all over as if encountering a natural predator. But my condition isn't good either. The sound waves from the fish's voice were too violent, passing through the cave and my body, making my vision darken and head spin. After recovering for a while, I carefully look at the massive worm. It's frozen in place, not daring to move, so I boldly get up. Seeing this, the massive worm suddenly contracts its body and vanishes without a trace the next second. I can't help but find it amusing. To a 40-meter fish, it really is just a little worm. At this moment, I finally release a huge sigh of relief and rest against the rock wall. Then through the system interface, I request water and bread from Marcus. After recovering some stamina, I pick up a wooden shield and continue crawling forward. After advancing about 30 meters, I encounter a fork. To avoid getting lost, I follow the right-hand rule and choose right. After crawling another 30 meters, the space suddenly becomes much more spacious. I can even stand upright. Cautiously looking around, I find this is an oval-shaped chamber with a pool of water in the center. And in the water sits a supply crate. Joy floods through me. Finally, a reward. I quickly retrieve it and open it. Ding! 20 glass acquired. My expression immediately turns to disdain. That's it? Though glass is extremely rare, I haven't seen anyone on Global Chat obtain it yet. The problem is, I don't have any blueprints that use glass. Still, I'm not too disappointed. There was another fork earlier that should also have a supply crate. I return to the fork and enter the left passage. This time, I crawl about 50 meters and encounter another fork. I mutter a complaint and choose right again. After crawling over 30 meters, I enter another oval chamber. Sure enough, another supply crate. Ding! 5 iron nails acquired. I'm instantly thrilled. I always thought iron nails required smelting iron ore, but with limited oxygen in the stomach cavity, smelting is impossible. Yet now, I've obtained them directly. Iron nails must be a crafting material for the iron dagger blueprint. After confirming nothing else is around, I send both supply crates to Marcus for storage, then return to the second fork and decisively enter the left passage. This one is exceptionally long. I crawl nearly 200 meters before finally entering a spacious chamber. This chamber is noticeably larger than the previous two, and the water in the center is remarkably clear. Moreover, there's another cave passage at the back, seemingly leading to further exploration. I first approach the chamber's center. Like before, there's a supply crate here, but it's not in the water. It's on a rock platform, and this supply crate is rimmed with gold. My eyes light up. Wow, the contents must be special. With excitement, I slowly open the supply crate. Ding! Mini aquarium blueprint, iron cleaver blueprint, fishbone armor blueprint acquired. My excitement is indescribable. 3 blueprints at once. I open the blueprints section of the system interface to examine them. Mini aquarium blueprint requires 10 stone, 10 glass, 10 sand. Iron cleaver requires 3 iron nails, 1 wood. Fishbone armor requires large fishbone, 100 golden silk seaweed fiber, 50 fish fat, 100% silk. After reading, I pause. The first 2 blueprints are fine. I have all the materials and can craft them immediately upon return. Especially the iron cleaver blueprint, arguably the strongest weapon available. The bone blade in my hand clearly can't compare to an iron weapon. Moreover, many people still haven't obtained any weapons. But looking at the fishbone armor blueprint, the required materials dismay me completely. Apart from golden silk seaweed, I've never seen the other materials. And I only have 1 golden silk seaweed plant. Who knows when I'll gather 100 units. Still, I'm not discouraged. Instead, I'm more motivated, because the armor's appearance is incredibly cool, and its defense must be amazing. After all, it's made from large fishbone. Its strength naturally can't be compared to my current lobster shell armor. Shaking my head, I decide to continue with business. After sending the golden supply crate to Marcus, I crawl into this chamber's other passage. This time, after only about 50 meters, I enter a chamber. Quickly searching it, I surprisingly find no supply crate. Instead, in the center, I find a staghorn coral, blood red throughout, with a thin layer of blood mist floating around it. I'm not sure what it is. After hesitating, I decide to touch it to see if I can unlock its creature archive entry. So I carefully tap the blood red coral. Nothing unusual happens, so I open the creature archive. It has indeed updated, unlocking 2 creatures. The first is called Gel Slug, 10 centimeters long, 200 grams, a soft-bodied creature with strong regenerative abilities. Its body can be used to make hemostatic gel. Joy fills me. This gel slug must be that flat, soft-bodied creature I saw earlier. It can make hemostatic gel. When leaving, I must catch a few to take back. Then I look at the second unlocked creature, waste blood coral polyp. 3 millimeters long, 0.05 grams, feeds on blood. Tiny creatures living colonially on waste blood coral can be used to make waste blood powder. I'm puzzled. What exactly is waste blood powder used for? The description isn't clear. Regardless, I'm taking it back. But how to transport it troubles me. Waste blood coral polyps can't leave the coral in water, so I come up with a less than ideal solution, requesting stone, sand, and glass from Marcus. Opening the blueprint interface, I craft a mini aquarium, then fill it with clear seawater and place the coral inside. I send it to Marcus for storage. After handling that, I continue forward. At the back of this chamber lies another cave passage. With anticipation, I begin crawling continuously. Before long, I discover something different. This cave has 5 forks. I'm stumped. How to choose? Helplessly, I still choose the rightmost one. After an unknown amount of time, I suddenly feel wind blowing from ahead. Instant joy. Wind means an exit ahead. I immediately speed up. After about 10 meters, I finally crawl out of the cave, then begin shouting wildly, "I'm out! I'm out!" I can't help it. Crawling through the cave for so long, the oppressive darkness of cramped spaces made me feel nearly desperate. But after the joy, I'm completely stunned. Why are there stars in the sky? Looking at the star-studded sky, I freeze completely. I didn't return to the fish's mouth. Then where am I? 10 days in this world, and this is my first time seeing the outside. Though it's nighttime, the ocean isn't dark, because there are 10 moons in the sky. Then the Leviathan's thoughts echo in my mind, little human. How did you get outside? It's dangerous. Come back quickly. I'm startled. The fish's voice sounds urgent. Clearly, it thinks I'm too fragile to be safe alone in the outside world. Obediently, I immediately return to the cave and begin crawling back. But after crawling a while, I encounter 2 forks and am completely lost. I can't find the way back. The Leviathan's thoughts echo again. What's wrong, little human? There's still something on the right you haven't taken. My confused expression instantly turns to delight. It seems the fish can sense the cave's interior. Then I can follow its guidance. So I obediently crawl right. After that, whenever I encounter a fork, the fish expresses puzzled thoughts, and I crawl according to its directions. After 4 or 5 forks, I finally enter another chamber. This place is piled with elongated mud. I grab a clump, and the system announces, "Ding! 1 rock-burrowing worm feces acquired. Shocked, I quickly throw it away, then continue searching around. The fish's thoughts clearly indicated this is where the last treasure is located. But after searching extensively, I find nothing else. Just mud, nothing but mud. Could this be the treasure? After thinking, it makes sense, since it can only be used as fertilizer. Maybe this rock-burrowing worm feces can make plants grow faster in the fish's stomach. So I request empty supply crates and a shovel from Marcus. Once I finish digging it up, I can return to the fish's stomach and rest properly. As I dig, the small mountain gradually collapses. Suddenly, I see something different. The mountain's peak reflects sparkling light. There's treasure buried inside. I immediately speed up my digging until the entire mountain becomes a small mud pile. I finally see it clearly, a peculiarly looking plant, about half a meter tall, its trunk splitting into 3 branches with several crystal leaves. Quite beautiful. At the branch tips hang rock-like fruits. I have no idea what plant this is, so I decide to touch it. But the moment I touch it, the stone drops. Startled, I quickly catch it. The next moment, a system notification appears in my mind. Stone fruit acquired. I'm stunned. This stone is actually tree fruit. Since it's fruit, it should be edible, right? So I open my mouth, preparing to taste it. But hesitating, I request bottled water from Marcus to wash it first before biting. After all, rock-burrowing worm feces is everywhere here. Then I put the fruit in my mouth and bite hard. But there's only a crack sound, nearly breaking my molars. The stone fruit doesn't budge, only a shallow tooth mark on its surface. I wince in pain, then think for a moment. This must be like a nut. The outer layer is its protective shell. So I go to the rock wall and smash it hard. The fruit indeed cracks open. Peeling away the outer shell, it reveals crystal clear flesh with a white seed in the center, overall resembling a lychee. I put it in my mouth again and bite gently, this time tasting sweetness. The seed in the center has an intense fruity aroma. Ding! Strength +1, Constitution +1, Speed +1 acquired. My eyes light up instantly. It increased 3 attributes at once. Though only 1 point each, I'm already very satisfied. I mutter, wondering if this stone fruit can repeatedly increase attributes. So I pick another one and smash the shell. When eating it, I don't hold much hope. I've never obtained food that repeatedly increases attributes. Ding! Strength +1, Constitution +1, Speed +1 acquired. At this moment, I freeze in shock. It actually repeated the attribute increase. Then I eagerly reach out, pick the last stone, wanting to eat it again, to see if it can keep adding points. But I hesitate instantly. This stone fruit should be plantable. Its growing conditions likely require planting in this feces. If brought back to the fish's stomach, I could grow more fruit through cultivation. So I abandon the idea of eating it and tuck it safely in my pocket. Then I dig the plant out from the feces pile. Along with those crates, I send everything to Marcus for storage. At this moment, this cave treasure hunt is successfully completed. Afterward, following the fish's guidance in my mind, I precisely navigate through fork after fork, catching 10 gel slugs along the way. After crawling for who knows how long, I finally reach the original cave entrance. The pitch-black environment confirms I'm back in the Leviathan's mouth. At this moment, my constantly anxious heart finally settles. Next, I place the armor in the equipment slot and pass through the esophageal passage light and free, returning to the stomach cavity. At this moment, looking at the spots of light around me, I feel like it's been a lifetime. Suddenly, the fish's thoughts echo. Little human finally returned. Can sleep now. So sleepy. Immediately after, the entire stomach cavity shakes. The fish begins moving, probably searching for a suitable resting place. I smile faintly, exhausted, because it's not my time to sleep yet. Next, I retrieve everything stored with Marcus, then plan to properly place the crystal stone tree. So I craft a mini planter, bury the feces inside, and plant the crystal stone tree on top. Then I place the corresponding supply crates, iron nails, and glass into the storage locker, and place the mini aquarium containing waste blood coral on the wooden platform. Then craft another mini aquarium and place the gel slugs I caught on the way back inside. The next day after waking, I first check my body attributes. My strength has now reached 10 points, with the rating changed to a healthy person who surpasses ordinary humans. With just 5 more strength points, I can easily handle the 100+ kilogram spike shell lobster armor set. Then I check the waste blood coral's condition. Seeing the coral polyps alive, I feel relieved. But then a problem arises in my mind. Waste blood coral polyps feed on blood. Where will I get blood? I quickly think of a good solution. Killing tendril bloodworms like before. They have lots of blood. One is enough to feed all the waste blood coral polyps. Then I look at the other mini aquarium. The gel slugs inside can make hemostatic gel. If injured by other large creatures later, hemostatic gel can provide powerful recovery effects immediately. I catch one, planning to test how strong its recovery ability really is. I directly cut it in half with the bone blade and place it in the mini aquarium, then patiently wait to see its recovery. Next, I climb down from the platform to check the golden silk seaweed I'd been thinking about. out. As soon as I approach, I notice it's clearly grown taller, and its entire body now glows faintly. At this moment, I can't help but feel excited. After all, its fruit grants +5 strength, and the fishbone armor requires its fiber. The golden silk seaweed's importance goes without saying. After calming my emotions, I approach the watermelon planting area. Seeds buried just days ago have already produced basketball-sized fruit. I can't help but marvel at plant growth speeds in this world. Clearly, it won't be long before they fully ripen. Having checked everything, the fish's feeding time approaches, so I move to the relatively safest inner side of the platform and equip all my defensive gear. Then open the blueprint interface and craft the iron cleaver. 3 iron nails plus 1 wood instantly transform into blue light, assembling into a 1-meter-long iron cleaver before me. Gripping it one-handed to feel the weight, I find that despite having 10 strength points, I can only perform simple slashes, and it burdens my wrist considerably. So, I try gripping it two-handed and slash a few times, but it feels uncoordinated and very awkward. After all, in my previous life, I was an ordinary person. I've never wielded a cleaver before. Two-handed cleaver work clearly needs practice time. Just then, churning seawater sounds from the esophageal passage. I immediately focus, carefully observing the water's movement. The seawater simply drains calmly. This feeding brings no dangerous creatures. The next 2 times are the same. My luck is good today. However, other survivors aren't so lucky. Today's death count increases dramatically, reaching 500,000. The tendril bloodworm's ferocity is still more than many poorly developed survivors can handle. Then I begin moving seaweed into the digestion pit. During this time, Marcus also encounters a tendril bloodworm attack, but I gave him a complete spiked armor set, plus told him how to handle it. So Marcus successfully defeats the tendril bloodworm. Afterward, he tells me about it and expresses gratitude. Hearing this, I am immediately pleased, and quickly have him send over the tendril bloodworm's corpse. Then place the blood into the mini aquarium containing the waste blood coral. The seawater inside quickly changes color, and the waste blood coral polyps become excited, beginning to absorb the seawater continuously. Then I take out seaweed from the storage locker and toss it among the gel slugs as their food. After finishing everything, I find the watermelon has fully ripened, so I immediately pick it, cut it into pieces, and leisurely sit on the platform munching away. Previously, I considered large-scale watermelon cultivation to achieve complete self-sufficiency with food and drink, but that would require at least 20 to 30 mini-planters, and the required space currently can't be reasonably arranged. Though with the fish's growth these days, the stomach cavity has expanded somewhat. To reasonably plant large watermelon fields would require waiting until the stomach cavity reaches at least 100 square meters. Next, I send some watermelon to Marcus. Then think of Adrian. I've thought before, since this world has global chat and the exchange market, teams and factions will definitely emerge, so I plan to develop my own team. Therefore, I invited Adrian. This woman is shrewd, not necessarily friend material, but perhaps a good collaborator. At this moment, I think, it's time for this woman to show her loyalty. So I message her, Adrian, shouldn't you contribute one of your recently traded blueprints to the team? Adrian is clearly caught off guard, Alex. Not only have I received 0 benefits from joining the team, but now you want to take one of my blueprints. Contributing to the team is part of your duty, and it's the foundation for building trust between us. After some back and forth, I finally say, Adrian, if you think my request is unreasonable, our team doesn't have to form. Seeing this, Adrian immediately becomes anxious. She clearly knows my resources are currently the most abundant in this world. Even if she builds her own group, it definitely won't develop better than I alone can. So she decides to submit this disadvantageous loyalty test. Thus, I select from her blueprints. One called Stone Mortar immediately catches my eye. Waste blood powder requires grinding waste blood coral, and a crucial step is having a mortar, so I decisively make my choice from Adrian. She says little and sends it directly. Next, I send her some leftover watermelon. She immediately asks how I obtained it, clearly surprised. Well, I grew it myself. If you want to grow your own later, contribute well to the team. I know this woman differs from Marcus. Marcus is simple-minded and willing to work for me, but Adrian needs to be motivated by benefits. After the conversation ends, I craft the stone mortar, planning to grind out waste blood powder right away to figure out its purpose. At this moment, in the aquarium, the seawater previously colored by tendril bloodworm blood has become clear again, clearly all absorbed by the waste blood coral polyps. And the waste blood coral overall seems slightly larger. Apparently, the more blood provided, the faster it grows. So without hesitation, I break off a small piece and place it in the stone mortar, first crushing it, then grinding in circles. I don't know how fine to grind it, so I just grind as fine as possible. After who knows how long, the system notification suddenly appears in my mind. Ding! Small portion of waste blood powder acquired. Upon consumption, Constitution +3, For 10 minutes, strength +5 and speed +5 accelerates wound recovery. Can only be consumed once per day. I'm instantly thrilled. This effect is incredible. Though my strength has increased to 10 points, wearing the 100+ kilogram spike shell lobster armor still burdens my body somewhat. So this waste blood powder's 10-minute boost is practically a life-saving tool for me. In my excitement, I plan to test its effects immediately. So I pour it all into my mouth and gulp it down with bottled water. Ding! Constitution +3. Strength +5, speed +5 acquired. I immediately feel my entire blood boiling, my skin flushing slightly red. An unprecedented sense of power instantly fills my entire body. Then I immediately check my personal stats panel. Strength 15 points, speed reaching 19 points, far surpassing ordinary humans. Next, I hurriedly equip the full spiked armor set, hold up a wooden shield, and grip the iron cleaver. Though I still feel the body's weight, the burden is clearly much less than before. At this moment, under all this weight, I run nimbly for the first time. However, the 19-point speed isn't obviously felt, likely suppressed by the weight. So I remove the entire spiked armor set and run freely around the stomach cavity. My speed now would absolutely shatter my previous world's sprint records. Suddenly, the system notification sounds again. Ding! 10 minutes have passed. Strength -5, speed -5, waste blood powder boost effect has ended. At this moment, I completely deflate, feeling all my energy drained. No wonder it can only be used once per day. The boost comes with a negative weakness effect afterward. Fortunately, the fish's dangerous feeding phase has passed. Otherwise, in my current state, encountering any aggressive creature, I'd probably lack even the strength to swing my cleaver. During this recovery period from weakness, I return to the wooden platform and eat fruit from cans to replenish sugar, and casually send Marcus a few cans. He quickly replies, "Alex, thank you so much. Just killed a tendril bloodworm and used lots of stamina. Really need to replenish. You're welcome." Though I ate 2 cans to replenish sugar afterward, my expression remains listless, and my eyelids grow heavy with drowsiness. This makes me sigh. The waste blood powder's side effects are really too strong. But right now, I don't dare sleep, because in just over an hour, the fish will swallow today's first supply crate. To distract myself, I focus on thinking, does making hemostatic gel from gel slugs also require the stone mortar? Time slowly passes for an hour. Water sounds from the passage. Today's first supply crate has arrived. I also equip the full spiked armor and enter combat readiness. This time, a silver-scaled dartfish enters with the water. Seeing this, I breathe a sigh of relief. After all the seawater drains, I jump down to process the helpless silver-scaled dartfish, then remove the spiked armor and open the supply crate. Ding! 1 gold ore acquired. I pause. These past 2 days, I haven't encountered many dangerous creatures, but ore acquisition rate is high. I wonder what sea region the fish has swum to. Then I plan to check on the gel slug I cut in half earlier, so I approach the aquarium raising them, and find the seaweed mostly eaten, and the gel slug count has become 11. Just 2 of them are half the size of the others. I'm somewhat surprised. Could the one cut in half have become 2? What incredible recovery ability! No, more accurately, it's regenerative ability. Then I reach in and catch a small gel slug, toss it into the stone mortar, preparing to test my theory. Next, I crush the gel slug's body with the grinding pestle. Since it's a living creature, I feel somewhat cruel, but there's no other way. According to the gel slug description, hemostatic gel requires using its body. Fortunately, it has no blood, so it doesn't seem too gory. Soon, the gel slug inside becomes a glob of viscous gel. Hemostatic gel acquired. During heavy bleeding, apply hemostatic gel to the wound for immediate hemostatic effect and accelerated wound healing. My eyes light up instantly. So hemostatic gel really is made this way, and its effects are significant. Previously, a tendril bloodworm bit a bloody hole in the stomach wall, with blood continuously flowing out. At the time, I had no solution except using a glow orb parasite to plug the wound. Otherwise, I'd have to watch the stomach wall bleed continuously. Now, with hemostatic gel, if any creature bites the stomach wall again, I can promptly treat the Leviathan. Thinking this, I feel 10 gel slugs are far too few, so I cut all 9 remaining large gel slugs in half to increase their numbers. Then take 2 portions of seaweed from the storage locker and place them in the mini aquarium. Next, I store this hemostatic gel in the storage locker. Then divide the silver-scaled dartfish into 3 portions and list them on the exchange market. Still trading for archive fragments that accelerate the fish's growth. Counting now, I've collected 6 fragments, just 4 more needed for a complete archive. So I simply craft several bone blades and continue listing them on the exchange market. Also trading for fragments. I plan to collect them all at once now. Currently, in other survivors' eyes, bone blades are absolutely top-tier weapons, so doing this is a huge loss for me. But I don't want to consider gains and losses now. As expected, someone trades for a bone blade as soon as it's listed. Shortly after, the 3 portions of silver-scale dartfish meat are also traded. The fragments are finally complete. Then I take out the 6 fragments collected earlier from the storage locker and place them together with the 4 in my hand. At this moment, A notification sounds in my mind. Abyssal Leviathan Accelerated Growth Food Archive Fragments complete. Synthesize? I choose to synthesize without hesitation. The next second, the fragments emit blue light before me, coalescing into a screen. It records 5 types of Leviathan food. The first type is fruit grown by survivors themselves. Feeding 5 tons increases the Leviathan's growth speed by 10%. The second through 5th types are crimson kelp, bamboo segment anemone, golden silk seaweed, golden king kelp, all requiring 10 tons to increase the Leviathan's growth speed. After reading the archive descriptions, I'm completely dumbfounded. I currently can't achieve any of these 5 foods. The first seems simplest, just grow fruit in mini planters, but where can I get 5 tons worth? Right now, there's nowhere near enough space to place all the mini planters I'd need. And of the remaining 4 food types, I've never even heard of 3 of them. This makes me smile bitterly, but it's not a total loss. At least if I encounter any of these foods in the future, I'll recognize them immediately. Then, I consider whether to pursue the first method listed in the archive. After all, 5 tons of fruit is still achievable. As long as I sell mini planters on Global Chat, other survivors can start growing fruit. Producing 5 tons would be easy that way, and then I could just buy it all back in bulk. But the problem is, I don't want to spread mini planters around yet, which means I'd need to find 1,000 people willing to follow my instructions, and they'd have to guarantee not to leak the information. That's nearly impossible to pull off. Just then, a private message comes through. Hello, boss. My name is Ethan. I just formed a guild with over 1,000 survivors. I'd like to invite you to become our vice president. Would you be interested? I pause, surprised. Wait, the system allows guild formation now? No, the guild is self-organized. We created a group chat. One person's strength is limited, and we all believe working together helps us develop faster. I see. Thanks for the invitation, but I'm not interested in joining any organization right now. Just like that, I firmly decline Ethan's invitation. After that, more guilds keep inviting me to be their vice president, but I turn them all down. Guilds aren't part of the official system interface. These self-organized groups rely entirely on members' conscientiousness. That feels unreliable. Besides, if I wanted to, I could just start my own. That said, forming a guild is actually a smart survival strategy. It pools multiple people's resources together. For example, valuable blueprints can be traded more cheaply within the guild, but it only works if everyone follows the rules. Otherwise, it falls apart quickly. Just then, Adrian messages me again. She asks if I'm planning to form a guild too. I'm not. But you could form one under your name. After all, you came up with the seaweed transport method. You've got a good reputation on Global Chat. I want to, but what do I use as leverage? Ethan's guild advertised with 10 blueprints. I'm speechless for a moment. This woman never gets to the point. If you want something from me, just say so. Stop trying to manipulate me. Fine, I'll be direct. I want the fishbone blade blueprint back that I traded you earlier. Weapon blueprints are rare right now. With the fishbone blade's power, it'll definitely attract survivors with resources to spare. After she says this, I start thinking it over. I already have the iron cleaver now, so giving Adrian the fishbone blade blueprint isn't out of the question. And if I keep being suspicious and never trust her, there's no point in partnering with her at all. All right, you can have the fishbone blade blueprint, but you must return it to me every night. Fine, I wasn't planning to keep it anyway. I don't have the materials to craft it. I just want to show it to guild members. Give them something to look forward to. I'm surprised you actually agreed, though. Did you get a blueprint better than the fishbone blade? We're partners. Stop trying to analyze your own allies all the time. Manage your guild well, and I'll give you a bonus. With that, I send Adrian the fishbone blade, and our conversation ends. Just about an hour later, she successfully establishes a guild called Survivors. The entry requirements are steep. Members must submit 300 basic materials, but even so, people are scrambling to join. Meanwhile, I'm putting on my armor, waiting for the supply crate to arrive. Out of boredom, I check Global Chat, and notice survivors are adding guild names before their usernames. Of course, there's a major flaw. Anyone can change their guild tag to impersonate members. That's why guild leaders need to record each member's profile picture. Names can change, but profile pictures are permanent. The system interface has a built-in camera function. After taking screenshots, you can save and record people's profile pictures. Adrian also requires members to disclose their blueprints for sharing. She screenshots all the blueprint information and sends it to me. After receiving it, I browse through, only to find most blueprints are worthless. Wooden sword and wooden shield blueprints are among the most fragile items. Soon after, today's second supply crate arrives. I notice multiple creatures came in with the water this time, making me tense up. Fortunately, the seawater recedes calmly, revealing 3 silver-scaled dart fish, which lets me breathe a sigh of relief. I walk down and open the new supply crate. Ding! Obtained diving suit blueprint. I'm immediately thrilled. shield. No wonder 3 fish came at once. They're here to provide materials for the diving suit. I activate the blueprint. Crafting the diving suit requires 5 silver scale dartfish skins and 20 cloth pieces, so I use the spikes to peel the skin off all 3 fish intact, then click craft. 20 cloth pieces and 2 fish skins fly out from the storage locker, merging with the 3 fish skins in front of me into blue light, transforming into a diving suit with a completely smooth surface. My eyes light up instantly. In this ocean world, a diving suit will definitely come in handy. The next day arrives, and right after waking up, I inspect everything. The golden silk seaweed has grown 10 centimeters taller. The gel slugs have multiplied to 19, and the waste blood coral polyps look listless from not absorbing any blood. Soon after, the giant fish begins feeding. As the seawater flows in, I notice only 2 glow orb parasites in the water, with no other dangerous creatures. So, I craft the wooden bucket blueprint I traded for earlier, planning to change the seawater for the waste blood coral. But just as I'm about to scoop water, something suddenly flashes on the water's surface. I quickly scan around but don't spot any creatures. Yet I still retreat to the inner side of the platform, quietly waiting for the water to recede. After a long while, I still haven't noticed anything unusual, so I figure I'm probably just being paranoid. I walk down, pick up the glow orbs, and place them on the stomach wall, adding light to the space. As I'm about to start moving seaweed, I suddenly hear a sound cutting through the air behind me. I turn and see a blurry afterimage in front of me. The next moment, my chest plate is pierced, and blood flows from my chest. Fortunately, the armor's protection prevents a fatal injury, and the blurry object gets deflected. But I have no time to worry about my injury, because several more of those piercing sounds appear around me. I quickly raise my arm, and a cleaver appears in my hand. The next instant, it collides with the blurry object, sparking on impact. Immediately after, the blurry object gets knocked away, but I have no time to celebrate because another attack reaches me from the other side. So I quickly raise my other arm, and a wooden shield appears in my hand. With a thud, the blurry object lodges into it. At this moment, I finally get a clear look at this thing. It's a creature shaped like a flying disc, but there's no time to examine it closely, because 2 more rapid flight sounds cut through the air around me. I immediately drop the iron cleaver, and with a thought, 20 wood pieces fly out from the storage locker behind me, transforming into blue light, assembling into a wooden door in front of me. The next moment, the other 2 disc-shaped creatures embed themselves completely in it, stuck tight. I still don't let my guard down, carefully listening for sounds around me, and only after confirming no other creatures are present do I lower the shield and door, then remove my chest plate, and from the storage locker, take out the hemostatic gel I crafted yesterday. Right now, my chest is completely covered in blood. I take off my shirt and clean the wound with bottled water, then apply the hemostatic gel. The wound immediately seals. The gel's effect is instant. Finally, I wrap it with hemostatic bandages, and only then do I fully relax. After washing the blood off my shirt and putting it back on, I pick up the wooden shield and examine the butterfly-like creature stuck to it. It's circular overall, with a ring of hard, sharp, serrated edges for cutting, and 4 legs below. Then I open the creature archive. Razor butterfly worm. Food type, blood. A parasite living inside giant creatures that can easily take a life in an instant. Its body can be used to craft saw blades. After reading this, I feel deeply unsettled. The tendril bloodworm only appeared a few days ago, and now there's an even more dangerous parasite. And it's so small that it's extremely hard to spot when it attacks. The tendril bloodworm needs seawater to unleash its full power, but the razor butterfly worm is the opposite. In seawater, it can't find solid footing, preventing it from using its incredible speed and jumping power. That's why it only attacks after the water recedes. Right now, I can't help but lament. The stomach cavity is getting more and more dangerous. Next, I kill all these razor butterfly worms, then store them in the storage locker to use as saws later. Then I open the system interface, and use the iron nails in the storage locker to upgrade the damaged spiked armor set. Finally, after putting on the new armor, I feel safe enough to start moving seaweed. This time is cutting it close, because right after I finish moving everything, the giant fish's second feeding begins. I remain vigilant, watching the water. A fleshy, elongated body rolls on the surface. It's a tendril bloodworm. At the same time, I see the same strange flash as before. My brow furrows deeply. When it rains, it pours. Both dangerous parasites showed up this time. Waiting for the water to recede like before definitely won't work. If the tendril bloodworm and razor butterfly worms attack together, I won't stand a chance. So I make a bold decision. While the razor butterfly worms can't attack in water, I'll dive in proactively and eliminate the tendril bloodworm first. With that, I unleash all my strength, take a deep breath, and leap into the water like a hungry tiger. Before the tendril bloodworm can react, I swing the iron cleaver in a frenzy, sending seawater splashing everywhere, and soon the water turns red. The tendril bloodworm is finally cut in half. I quickly drag its corpse up onto the wooden platform and drop it into the aquarium with the waste blood coral. After all, I can't waste all this blood. Doing all this this drains most of my stamina, so I retreat to the rest area to recover, preparing to deal with the razor butterfly worms once the water recedes. Meanwhile, I keep my eyes fixed on the water surface and notice something unexpected. The razor butterfly worms are gathering together. I pause. Could it be because of the tendril bloodworm's blood? After all, razor butterfly worms also feed on blood. This realization makes me excited. It's a perfect chance to eliminate them all at once. Since they can't spin rapidly in water, they have no real attack power. So I leave the rest area and slowly enter the seawater. I raise my blade and strike, hitting one of them. The other razor butterfly worms immediately sense danger, but their 8-legged structure isn't suited for underwater movement, so they escape slowly. How could I pass up this weakness? I chase after them, slashing away, and quickly eliminate all 5 razor butterfly worms. Then I retreat back onto the platform, waiting for all the seawater to recede, and only after confirming there's no other danger do I fully relax. The experience just now also taught me the razor butterfly worm's weakness. As long as I release blood in the seawater, I can attract them all and wipe them out. But this method has one problem. Where does the blood come from? I can't always encounter tendril bloodworms at the same time. The simplest solution would be to bleed the giant fish, but naturally I won't do that. After some thought, I come up with an idea. I'll purchase tendril bloodworm corpses and store their blood in wooden buckets. I now control 2 guilds, one brand new, and another I had Adrian form yesterday. I just need to have both of them collect tendril bloodworm corpses from guild members, and contributors can earn increased guild contribution points. During the giant fish's final feeding, I finally don't encounter any more aggressive creatures. I check the upper right corner of the system interface, and today's death count has surged again. Over 2 million people are gone. Who knows how many more tomorrow will bring. Afterward, I contact Marcus and Adrian, instructing them to collect tendril bloodworms for me, and also inform them about the razor butterfly worm's information and weaknesses, telling them to be careful. This information can serve as a guild reward for high contributing and loyal members. With everything handled, I'm ready to sleep, but just then, the system voice suddenly echoes in my mind. The abyssal leviathan has traveled 10,000 nautical miles and is about to leave the birthwaters. Beginner protection phase has ended. Based on current speed, in 1 day, the abyssal leviathan will cross the border waters and enter the deep blue sea. Hearing this news, my head reels and my expression freezes. The past dozen days could be described as constantly perilous, yet the system is telling me I've been in a protected phase this whole time. Then how dangerous will the unprotected deep blue sea be? I wake up to the first day, before crossing into new waters. I'm surprised to find the giant fish hasn't been feeding all day, and for the first time in a while I hear its thoughts. There seems to be something over there. I'm puzzled. What did it find that's making it skip meals? After some time, the esophageal passage opens and seawater floods in. I stay alert, watching for dangerous creatures in the water, but find nothing. And for some reason, the water is very murky this time. Soon the water recedes, and I discover there isn't even any seaweed this time. Instead, the ground is covered with sediment, along with a white sphere the size of an ostrich egg. I pause. What is this? I carefully walk down. Upon closer inspection, it appears to be a fish egg. After quickly touching it, I open the creature archive. Big head fish. Length 20 meters. Weight 100 tons. Food type carnivorous. Description: a fish that likes to hide in sand while hunting. It possesses some intelligence. Its meat is delicious and edible, and its teeth can be used to craft weapons. I'm somewhat surprised. I touched an egg, but it described the adult, and the phrase delicious and edible deeply attracts me, because in past creature descriptions, anything with that phrase always increases stats. I gently crack open the egg shell, then pour the liquid that flows out into my mouth. An unprecedented fishy odor instantly rushes to my head, but I force myself to swallow it all down. Consumed big head fish egg, intelligence +1. The moment the notification sounds, my brain suddenly feels an unprecedented lightness. The sensation is amazing. I didn't expect a single intelligence point to bring such a significant improvement. I also feel my control over my body has strengthened. Suddenly, the giant fish's thoughts sound again. Seems like there's more good stuff. I pause, thinking, could this be supplies before a major battle? While waiting for the giant fish to swallow the good stuff, I glance at the system interface. The death count has increased significantly. By today, total deaths will probably reach 10 million, and this is still the protected phase. Then I quickly craft 2 portions of waste blood powder and send them to Marcus and Adrian. They're my own people after all. I can't let anything happen to them. After some time, the seawater the giant fish swallows is still very murky, and after the water recedes, it leaves behind more sediment. Still no large creatures. I walk down from the platform again and see several jade-smooth shells lying in the sediment. Ding! White jade clam, length 20 centimeters, weight 8 kilograms. Description: a shell made of white jade. Its meat is delicious and edible. The white jade shell can be absorbed by the abyssal leviathan to grow scales. My heart leaps with joy. Another edible creature, and its shell can actually make the giant fish grow scales. If that's true, the giant fish's survivability will greatly improve, perfect for facing the unknown dangers of the deep blue sea. Next, I prepare to pry open the white jade clam, but it's tightly shut. After dozens of attempts, I still can't open it. Helplessly, I resort to fierce hacking, and only after dozens of strikes do I completely shatter the shell. Then I eagerly pull out the palm-sized meat and immediately take large bites. Ding! Consumed white jade clam meat, strength +1. My heart leaps with joy. Then I use the same method to smash open the second one and eat it. But unfortunately, strength doesn't increase again. For the following time, the giant fish seems to keep searching for things. Then the esophageal passage opens again, and this time a silver-rimmed supply crate flows in. Ding! Obtained stone platform blueprint. I instantly gasp in excitement and immediately check the required materials. Stone platform needs 100%. I decisively click craft, and a square stone block with 1 meter sides appears before me, looking extremely solid. Seeing this, I decisively craft 5 more. Then with a thought, I dissolve all the wooden platforms into blue light and replace them entirely with stone platforms. Soon another silver-rimmed supply crate arrives. Ding! Obtained 20 iron nails. My eyes light up immediately. Iron nails are very rare. Over all those previous days combined, I only obtained 5 total. Truly worthy of being a silver-rimmed supply crate. Just then, a private message comes through. It's Ethan, president of Leviathan Guild. Boss, sorry to bother you. Our guild wants to get those silver scale dart fish meats you're selling, but I don't have any valuable blueprints to trade with you. However, yesterday I obtained a card called Crimson Locator Card, and I can't use it, but I know this card will definitely be useful in the future, so I'd like to trade it with you. Is that acceptable? After seeing this message, my mouth curves into a huge grin. The food archive for accelerating the giant fish's growth mentioned a food called Crimson Kelp, and this card should be for guiding to that sea region. So, I decisively choose to trade, and the system immediately prompts its function. Ding! Obtained Crimson Locator Card. After use, can locate Crimson Waters. Then I try to use it directly, but it fails to activate. There's probably some prerequisite condition. Perhaps leaving the giant fish's birth waters will work. Soon after, the giant fish swallows another supply crate. Ding! Obtained 5 gold ingots. Can increase golden silk seaweed growth rate. My eyes light up at this moment. Golden silk seaweed's value goes without saying, but its growth rate of only 20 centimeters over several days has been frustrating. Now I've finally obtained fertilizer for it. After that, the giant fish swallows another silver-rimmed supply crate, which yields 5 silver ingots. I have no idea what silver ingots are for, so I can only store them for now. After some time, I sense the giant fish suddenly stops moving, and its thoughts sound, found another treasure cave. Hearing this, I immediately get excited. Doesn't this mean I'm about to score big again? So I immediately gather my armor and weapons and climb into the esophageal passage like last time. During this, I also communicate with Marcus, telling him to be ready to send support items at any time. But before I take more than a few steps, the esophageal passage behind me suddenly closes. I freeze. What's happening? Though I know the giant fish won't harm me, the enclosed space still makes me tense and uneasy. The next second, the entire space violently shakes, and the ground begins slowly rising and tilting. The giant fish seems to be lifting its head, then suddenly rises and tilts, pressing its mouth against the cave opening. I lose my balance and fall backward onto the esophageal membrane, and since everything around here is smooth, I don't know how to climb up. However, the problem soon resolves itself. Massive amounts of seawater pour into the passage, quickly rising to my neck. Alarmed, I quickly store the heavy armor and tread water to rise with the water level. Just like that, before long, I exit the esophageal passage and enter the giant fish's mouth. Then, just like the last time I went out, I climb up its barbel ridge and arrive at the cave entrance. I carefully observe inside and discover this cave is somewhat different from the last one. It's more spacious, slopes downward, and is several meters above the ground. With no standing water inside, it appears to be an air-filled cave. Then I put on my upgraded armor and take the iron cleaver and wooden shield before cautiously entering. After walking forward for a bit, I smell a rotting stench permeating the air, and the deeper I go, the stronger it gets. even making me gag. As I continue walking, I discover a fork in the path. I cautiously approach, then peek around the corner. Immediately, my heart skips a beat. And the next second, I recklessly drop everything in my hands and run. After running for a while, I pay attention to sounds behind me and realize the monster doesn't seem to be chasing. Just then, the giant fish's thoughts sound, "Why did the little one run out? There's still stuff inside to take." I immediately snap to attention, my fear vanishing completely. It seems the giant fish has been watching me all along, and its relaxed tone indicates there's nothing in this cave that threatens it. So I gain confidence and slowly walk back, then boldly enter the corner. I discover this massive creature is actually already dead. Its skin has started rotting, its lantern-like eyes are shriveled, yet its exposed fangs remain intact and gleam with a chilling light. Then I check the creature archive. Blade-tooth eel, length 72 meters, weight 160 tons, food type carnivorous, hides in caves, ambushing passing creatures at any time. Its sharp fangs can directly pierce through creatures' bodies. Its meat is firm and edible, and its fangs can be used as weapons. I'm immediately shocked. With this size, if we encountered a living one, the giant fish really couldn't handle it. Next, I prepare to extract the teeth that can be made into weapons. So I use a stone and chisel away with several bangs, expecting it to take some effort. But unexpectedly, a tooth quickly comes loose. I pick it up and find the root looks just like a knife handle, as if it can be used directly as a weapon. Seeing this, my heart leaps with joy. I extract all 30 teeth in one go and send them to Marcus for storage. Then I leave this corner and continue forward. After over 100 meters, I finally reach the end. Golden light suddenly flickers ahead. I move closer to look and discover a stone platform at the end with a pure golden supply crate on it. My eyes immediately sparkle. Last time the cave only had a gold-rimmed supply crate, yet it gave me 3 rare blueprints. I quickly walk over and open it, and golden light emanates from within. Ding! Obtained Abyssal Leviathan Scale Transformation Ultimate Formula. Unique possession. My heart instantly races. Though I don't yet know this formula's specific function, hearing the word ultimate plus unique tells me it's definitely extraordinary. I immediately check the formula's contents, only to be dumbfounded. Except for the first ingredient having a description, everything else is question marks. I think to myself, it probably needs to be unlocked step by step. And just looking at the first ingredient, I know this isn't something I can make right now. Helplessly storing the formula, I prepare to leave. But a doubt suddenly arises. Was obtaining such a precious pure gold crate a bit too easy? That blade-tooth eel should have been guarding this pure gold crate, but died for some unknown reason, letting me get lucky. What could have killed that massive creature so silently? Could it be some large creature from the deep blue sea that passed through? Thinking this, chills run uncontrollably down my spine. Soon after, I return to the cave entrance, remove all my equipment, and jump into the giant fish's mouth. It knows I've returned, so it slowly opens the esophageal passage, gradually lowering the water level in the passage, letting me safely return to its stomach. After checking around, I discover fortunately this place was largely unaffected by the giant fish's tilting. Only some seawater spilled from the mini aquarium and seaweed planter box. The next day, shortly after waking up, a series of system notifications sound in my mind. You are now far ahead of other survivors, the first to enter the extremely dangerous deep blue sea. The system then informs me I've obtained the world's unique title Trailblazer, which grants 5 freely allocatable stat points that can be reassigned at any time. If I lose my leading position, the title will be transferred. Then the system voice sounds again. Ding! Use the Ironclad Behemoth Extermination Pass as soon as possible, or you will be hunted by the Ironclad Behemoth. At this moment, I'm first shocked. Then I open the personal stats panel and see the title Trailblazer added after my name. I add 5 points to strength, then try figuring out how to reassign, discovering I just need to click the title. I'm very pleased at this moment because these 5 stat points are extremely flexible. When facing danger, I can put them all in speed to escape. If escape is impossible, I can instantly switch them all to strength to fight desperately. But immediately after, I become tense again because I now notice the character assessment section reads, a person infected with negative oxygen bacteria who is currently sick. After a moment of stunned silence, I recall the past 2 days' experiences. The only reason for this negative oxygen bacteria infection could be yesterday's treasure cave. Thinking carefully, that massive blade-tooth eel died without external injuries, probably because of this bacteria. Everything makes sense now. And now, I don't know what to do. After all, this bacteria can kill even a massive creature, so it's definitely beyond what I can resist. I keep telling myself to stay calm. Thinking carefully, I should have been infected last night. night, yet I haven't felt any discomfort all day today. So this negative oxygen bacteria probably isn't particularly virulent. Without any treatment method currently, I can only endure it physically. So I allocate all 5 stat points to Constitution. After temporarily setting this matter aside, I take out the ironclad behemoth extermination pass I obtained earlier from the storage locker. It now shows a 3-day countdown. I know that once these 3 days pass, the ironclad behemoth will completely lose patience and begin hunting the giant fish. At this moment, I can't help but feel tense. My giant fish was only born a dozen days ago, yet already 2 highly aggressive parasites have appeared inside. Therefore, I dare not imagine how many parasites would exist in an adult leviathan's stomach after going uncleaned for a long time. Right now, I truly feel like my end is approaching. Suddenly, the giant fish's thoughts sound in my mind. Finally found it. So scary. I need to get back quickly. I freeze, not understanding what's happening. Then I hear the system notification ding. Entered birth waters. I freeze again. Why did it come back? But soon I figure it out. It's probably almost evening outside, and the giant fish is likely preparing to rest for the night in the safe birth waters. And sure enough, after returning to the border waters, it stops moving. But what I didn't expect is that it suddenly opens the esophageal passage and lets in large amounts of seawater. After the seawater recedes, I see a deep blue treasure chest and realize this must be what the giant fish risked finding earlier. I immediately open the chest. Ding. Obtain duel right. Usage can designate any survivor for a duel. If you kill the opponent, you obtain all their resources. At this moment, my mood inevitably grows heavy because this deep blue treasure chest should be obtainable by everyone. In other words, many people will possess duel rights in the future, which will inevitably lead to mutual plundering. This isn't a duel right at all. It's a switch for greed. Now I only hope other survivors have self-awareness and don't come challenge me to duels. But then I find this thought laughable because people will definitely try to challenge me for huge gains and in no small numbers. Fortunately, I'm currently leading other survivors by 3 times the distance, giving me plenty of time to develop. Then, more resources emerge from the deep blue treasure chest. Ding! Obtained bottled water supplies, canned meat supplies. My heart leaps with joy because these cans contain chicken, beef, and pork, which other people in this world currently can't get at all. Obtained 200,000 seaweed. I immediately show a shocked expression, not because of the 200,000 seaweed, but because I'm shocked by the deep blue treasure chest's capacity. After all, one storage locker can only hold 100,000 items. With this deep blue treasure chest, I no longer need to worry about insufficient storage space. With nothing else to do, I craft 2 wooden platforms to use as a rest area, then fall asleep along with the giant fish. Upon waking, I move my body around and find that, aside from some fatigue, my body shows no other issues. It seems 20 points in Constitution can let me resist the bacteria for a while. At this moment, the system voice sounds, ding, entered the deep blue sea. The giant fish continues swimming forward, and my heart tenses up with it. What crisis exists in this deep blue sea that made the giant fish retreat so decisively yesterday? Suddenly, a massive humming sound rings in my ears, and it seems to be getting closer, making my eardrums ache instantly. Then the stomach cavity suddenly lurches, and my entire body goes flying sideways. Fortunately, the stomach wall is soft, so I'm not injured, though the violent shaking makes my head spin. Another series of muffled explosive sounds rings out consecutively, like heavy bombs exploding underwater, and the explosions are right beside the giant fish, almost knocking me unconscious. If my Constitution hadn't reached 20 points, I might have been killed by the shock waves. Immediately after, the giant fish's urgent voice sounds in my mind. Hide. Hide. Though I don't know what's happening outside, it's not hard to guess. Some massive creature must be hunting the giant fish. Suddenly, thunderous explosive sounds ring out again, and they keep getting closer. Then I'm thrown flying again. I know it must be that massive creature attacking. At this moment, my heart is in my throat, and the reason I'm being thrown around is obviously because the giant fish is twisting its body violently to evade attacks. I desperately cling to the wooden posts beneath the wooden platform. After all, there's nothing I can do right now. Only pray that the giant fish can successfully escape this hunt. Right now, the stomach cavity is shaking violently as the giant fish evades the hunt from an even larger creature. I cling desperately to the wooden post, praying the giant fish can escape successfully. Suddenly, its excited thoughts sound. Almost there! Almost there! A few seconds later, I hear massive crashing sounds coming from behind the stomach cavity. It's that creature frantically ramming into a mountain peak, seemingly very unwilling to give up. Before long, I feel the giant fish's swimming speed slow down, and the crashing sounds grow more and more distant. I think to myself, we should be safe now. At the same time, I understand the birth waters protection phase wasn't protecting us survivors at all, it was protecting the giant fish. Now, having just entered new waters, it's already been hunted by a massive creature. After some time, the giant fish fish's thoughts sound again. Finally, found food. I immediately tense up and quickly put on my equipment, retreating to the safe area on the platform. Having entered new waters, I suspect the giant fish's feeding phase might be even more dangerous. Soon after, the esophageal passage opens and seawater rushes in, with nothing unusual during this time. But after the water recedes, I see 5 oval-shaped shells, each extending soft bodies from inside, just like snails. Then their heads suddenly transform into mouthparts full of sharp teeth, viciously piercing into the stomach wall and sucking the giant fish's blood. Seeing this, I immediately become furious. Damn it! More parasites! I quickly raise the iron cleaver and strike at one's head. The creature suddenly retracts its body. I strike hard on the shell. With a loud clang, it feels like hitting stone, yet the shell only shows a shallow groove. I freeze, not expecting it to be this hard. Then I grit my teeth and strike 5 or 6 times consecutively, finally breaking through the shell and killing the creature inside. Then I check the creature archive: bone-armored lizard worm. Length 30 centimeters. Weight 10 kilograms. Food type blood. A parasite with hard bone armor. Its bone armor can be used to craft protective gear. I relax slightly since the description doesn't mention this parasite being aggressive. Next, I plan to eliminate them all, but I don't want to damage the hard shells that can be used to craft armor. So I walk onto the platform and take out iron nails and wood from the storage locker, open the blueprint interface, and craft an iron dagger. Then approach one of the bone-armored lizard worms and stab directly into its shell. Soon, the bone-armored lizard worm inside is ground to death. Repeating this several times, I ultimately obtain 12 intact bone armors and store them in the storage locker. Next, I start moving seaweed, while thinking to myself, the giant fish's feeding time today was much later than usual, all because it was being hunted earlier, causing it to miss many food sources. This situation might occur many more times in the future, so I decide, from now on, I'll collect large amounts of seaweed through Marcus and Adrian's guilds to proactively feed the giant fish. After all, it needs to be well fed to have the strength to escape predators. An hour later, I finish moving all the seaweed, and after the giant fish finishes digesting, it begins swimming again, entering today's supply crate intake phase. But soon after, it suddenly shouts loudly, its tone clearly angry, "Damn it, don't run!" Before I can react to what's happening, the entire stomach cavity suddenly flips over. At this moment, the supply crate the giant fish just found is suddenly stolen. So it chases after and slams that creature with its tail. After the stomach settles down, I see the esophageal passage open. The giant fish is guiding me to go outside, so I put on my equipment and enter the passage. But the moment I arrive in its mouth, I get a huge fright, because an enormous bloodshot eye is staring directly at me. But I quickly calm down since the giant fish confidently let me come out. That means there's temporarily no danger outside. So I boldly move forward to examine, and discover the creature has been completely killed by the giant fish. Its body is covered with massive scales reflecting a faint metallic sheen. Then I check the creature archive: white scale fish. Length 8 meters. Weight 4 tons. Food type carnivorous. A small fish species that likes to devour things. Its meat is edible, and its scales can be used to craft protective gear. Seeing the words edible, my eyes immediately light up. I wonder what stats it will increase. At the same time, I suspect the supply crate has already been swallowed into this white scale fish's belly, so I plan to cut open its abdomen. Looking at the white scale fish's hard scales that can make armor, I know cutting open its abdomen will be difficult. So I reallocate all 5 free stat points from the Trailblazer title to strength, but the next second, I start coughing continuously. The drop in constitution causes the negative oxygen bacteria to affect me, but I can't worry about that now. I raise the iron cleaver and strike down hard, instantly slicing open the white scale fish's abdomen. Then I quickly reallocate the 5 free stat points back to constitution, and my body returns to normal. At this moment, I also realize my physical condition is clearly getting worse and worse. At this moment, large amounts of blood flow from the white scale fish's belly, along with many organs crushed by the giant fish. Before long, the supply crate flows out as well. I feel a wave of disappointment. It's just an ordinary supply crate, but at least there's this white scale fish as an extra reward. Then I cut off its meat and eat it. Consumed white scale fish meat. Constitution +2. My heart leaps with joy. Now the negative oxygen bacteria will affect me even less. Though what I'd really prefer to increase is strength, because the ironclad behemoth extermination pass only has 2 days left. If I want to survive attacks from masses of parasites, then I must have sufficient strength. Then I cut off some of the white scale fish's scales, load them into the supply crate, then return to the stomach cavity to sleep and rest. The next day, the giant fish finally isn't hunted by large creatures like yesterday and manages to feed successfully. At this moment, I breathe a sigh of relief. It seems the deep blue sea does give breathing room. Then I vigilantly observe the water and see 2 familiar creatures, a tendril bloodworm and several razor butterfly worms. Now, they pose no threat to me whatsoever. Therefore, at this moment, I actually feel a sense of familiarity. Then, like before, I first jump into the water and eliminate the tendril bloodworm, then use its blood to successfully attract the razor butterfly worms to gather, and finally wipe them all out. Right now, I'm thinking, this is too easy. If only I encountered these familiar parasites every day from now on. on. Then I turn to climb onto the stone platform but instantly freeze, because I see the platforms have all turned into wood. Then massive ripples appear behind me. I immediately turn my head, only to find the water surface is actually calm. This sends a chill through my heart, and I quickly realize I seem to have fallen into some kind of hallucination. So, without hesitation, I slash my own thigh. When I wound my thigh and forced myself to wake up, I see a soft-bodied creature has already stuffed several tentacles into my mouth, seemingly transmitting something. While two other tentacles are pressing hard on my head, a wave of revulsion hits me. I suddenly swing the iron cleaver, severing those tentacles. Then quickly use my fingers to trigger my gag reflex, trying to vomit out whatever that creature transmitted into my body. Immediately, a glob of mucus comes out, covered with densely packed eggs. Utterly disgusting. I continue forcing myself to vomit, trying to expel all the eggs from my stomach. Suddenly, a piercing sound wave rings out, and my mind becomes dazed again, and my surroundings change appearance once more. Now, I'm standing in seawater, and not far ahead is a tendril bloodworm, barely visible in the dim environment. I immediately curse loudly, knowing I'm controlled by hallucinations again, so I quickly concentrate and break free from the illusion once more. At this moment, I don't care if there are still eggs inside me, and charge at the soft-bodied creature with the iron cleaver raised. But the closer I get, the more confused my consciousness becomes. So I have no choice but to close my eyes and slash wildly, not caring whether I hit it or not. After swinging over a dozen times, my consciousness finally clears, and the soft-bodied creature has been chopped into several pieces, lifeless, while I've nearly exhausted all my strength. So I slowly retreat beside the stone platform, gasping for breath. Then I open the creature archive to check. Dreamweave anemone parasite. Length 3 meters. Weight 40 kilograms. Food type, blood. A parasite living inside giant creatures that uses waving tentacles to trap humans in illusions, then implants eggs into human bodies. The eggs absorb human blood to accelerate growth and eventually burst out of the body. Its bodily fluid can be used as a hallucinogen. After reading this, I can't help but worry, unsure whether I expelled all the eggs and whether any remain inside my body. So I start drinking water frantically, continuing to induce vomiting, until after some time, I'm completely exhausted from vomiting, and only then do I stop. Next, I start using wooden buckets to collect the Dreamweave anemone parasite's bodily fluid, since the description mentioned its fluid can be used as a hallucinogen. But during the collection process, I'm still constantly being affected, though since I'm mentally prepared, each time I'm only briefly dazed before quickly recovering. After dealing with the Dreamweave anemone parasite's corpse, I see an oval-shaped shell split in half. I tap it with the iron cleaver and find that although the shell looks thin, it's actually very hard. Then I pick up one half, which doesn't take much effort. It's very light. Ding! Obtained Dreamweave anemone shell. I pause, not expecting this to be a crafting material, though I don't know what it's for yet. So I store it in the storage locker for now. The giant fish's feeding phase afterward is peaceful. I don't encounter any more strange creatures. While moving seaweed, I keep worrying about whether I expelled all the eggs. Suddenly, I remember the personal stats panel shows my current status, so I quickly open it, and the assessment section has indeed changed. A person infected with negative oxygen bacteria who also has Dreamweave anemone parasite larvae inside, already at death's door. After reading this, I sigh helplessly. I'm actually infected with parasites, and I'm at death's door. Then I walk back to the storage locker and take out the box of anti-inflammatory medicine I got a few days ago. And though I know it's useless, I still swallow one as psychological comfort. Soon after finishing moving the seaweed, the giant fish begins the supply crate intake phase. After the water recedes, an ordinary supply crate flows in. Ding! Obtained smelting furnace blueprint. I know this furnace is naturally for smelting metal, but the smelting process requires extremely high temperatures, which means consuming large amounts of oxygen. The stomach cavity doesn't have much oxygen to begin with. Though I have the algae oxygen generator, the oxygen it produces definitely can't sustain a furnace's consumption. Not to mention the smelting process might produce harmful gases like carbon monoxide. And equally important, the smelting furnace requires fire, but I don't have any fire-starting tools right now. So after thinking it through, I realize smelting is impossible for now. I'll have to wait until later. After the giant fish's supply crate intake phase ends, I plan to sleep. The ironclad behemoth extermination pass countdown has only about 20 hours left, so I must make all battle preparations tomorrow. Right now, having just woken up, I'm in poor condition, because last night I dreamed the Dreamweave anemone parasites burst out of my body in huge numbers, extremely disgusting. So now, pressure from both internal and external troubles weighs on my mind. After adjusting my mindset, I helplessly take out the stone fruit I stored in the storage locker earlier, planning to eat it before tonight to see if it can increase my stats a third time. During the giant fish's feeding phase afterward, I only encounter a wave of razor butterfly worms and a wave of bone-armored lizard worms, but no new creatures that could increase strength when consumed. Afterward, the giant fish only swallows one supply crate, because midway it's discovered by some large creature again. So it once again engages in a life-or-death escape, hiding until evening, so I don't get the other two supply crates. At this moment, the giant fish has stopped moving and begun sleeping. I know delaying no longer has any meaning, so I begin final preparations. Then I take out the stone fruit and crack its shell open on the algae oxygen generator, then swallow the transparent flesh inside in one bite. Ding! Consumed stone fruit. Strength +1, constitution +1, speed +1. I immediately get excited. This stone fruit can actually continue increasing stats. I just don't know how many more times it can repeat. That night I went out to the treasure cave, I really hit the jackpot. Then I glance at the crystal stone tree behind me and see leaves have grown, and fruits the size of peanuts have formed. This makes me feel urgent, wanting these fruits to mature quickly. Then I check my stats panel, and with a thought, reallocate the Trailblazer title's 5 free stat points to strength, bringing strength to 17 points all at once. I instantly feel the armor on my body has no weight, as if I'm only wearing a cotton jacket, but immediately I start coughing. Constitution drops to 18 points, making me feel very weak, but there's no choice. I must force myself to increase strength to have a better chance of surviving inside the ironclad behemoth's stomach. Then I take out 2 more iron nails and upgrade the iron cleaver once more. Next, I grab 6 gel slugs, grind out 6 portions of hemostatic gel, and also take out 1 portion of waste blood powder, placing everything into the deep blue treasure chest that can store 200,000 items, planning to bring them all into the ironclad behemoth's body. Finally, I also tell Marcus to be ready to support me at any moment. With that, everything is pretty much prepared. Then I pick up the ironclad behemoth extermination pass and say loudly, "Use." The moment the words leave my mouth, the pass immediately radiates golden light. Finally, it transforms into a massive fish clad in steel armor. After soaring through the air for a moment, it suddenly opens its enormous mouth and swallows me whole. Immediately, I vanish from the stomach cavity. The next second, I appear in a pitch-black space. The ground here is extremely damp. The air carries a fishy stench that makes me nauseous. I immediately open the creature archive. Ironclad behemoth, stage, adult, body length 300 meters, weight 200,000 tons, diet carnivorous and iron ore. Description: a giant fish species that feeds on iron ore. Its scales and teeth are composed of bone steel, which can be used to craft armor or weapons, and can also be absorbed by the abyssal leviathan to grow bone steel scales. After reading through the description carefully, I can't help but scratch my head. Sure, I now know what parts of the ironclad behemoth are most valuable, but the problem is, how could I possibly have the ability to pry off its scales and teeth? No time to worry about that now. I survey the dark space and finally confirm I'm inside the ironclad behemoth's mouth. For now, there shouldn't be any danger here, so I decide to run 2 experiments. First, can I craft items here? With a thought, a wooden shield appears in my hands. Delight fills me. Crafting items works. Second, can I place foundations? This is crucial. If I can successfully place them, clearing out the parasites will be much easier, so I focus my thoughts again. A wooden platform actually appears before my eyes. I can't help feeling delighted. Then I grope around in the ironclad behemoth's mouth for quite a while. Finally, I discover a massive opening, the ironclad behemoth's esophageal passage. I know it must be filled with risks I've never encountered before. After mentally preparing myself, I cautiously walk inside step by step. At this moment, after advancing 30-some meters through the esophageal passage, I finally see the scene inside the ironclad behemoth's stomach. In an instant, my scalp tingles like it's about to explode. I see countless parasites, packed densely together, moving slowly. This space is far larger than my giant fish's stomach cavity, but it's not dark. Massive numbers of glow orb parasites emit light, and they're many times larger than the ones I've encountered before. After hesitating for quite a while, I slowly step into the stomach cavity. Among the swarm, I recognize tendril bloodworms, bone-armored lizard worms, and razor butterfly worms, but there are even more I don't recognize, all with bizarre appearances. Most of them are feeding on the ironclad behemoth's blood. The stomach walls are riddled with bite marks, barely a patch of intact surface visible. Many areas are festering. I mutter bitterly, how am I supposed to clear all this? Then I prepare to retreat back into the esophageal passage to plan more carefully. But the next second, a fangworm covered in sharp teeth appears before me, its mouth gaping wide as it lunges to bite. In a split second, I react quickly, barely dodging the fangworm's attack. Immediately, I swing my cleaver and slice off its head in one strike. With all this commotion, all the parasites within a certain range notice me, this unwelcome intruder. So the moment the fangworm's head hits the ground, 3 tendril bloodworms charge toward me. They're much larger than the ones I've seen before, each nearly 5 meters long. The one leading the charge opens its massive mouth and lunges at me. Seeing this, I swing my iron cleaver forcefully, striking directly on its hard head. A sharp crack rings out. My current 17 points of strength are incomparable to before, so this powerful strike splits the tendril bloodworm's body wide open. Blood splatters all over me, but I have no time to worry about it. I quickly roll away, dodging the attacks of the other 2 tendril bloodworms. Then I immediately stand up and charge forward. With one slash, I strike their soft bodies, cutting down both tendril bloodworms at once. But before I can catch my breath, I hear 3 thwip sounds. 3 globs of white slime suddenly fly toward me from ahead. Though I don't know what they are, I still quickly step back to dodge them. Then I see a creature covered in armor, about 3 to 4 meters in size. A yellow beetle moving its stubby legs like a charging tank. Just from its momentum, I know I can't face it head on, so I start backing away, planning to retreat to the esophageal passage to reconsider. But before I can retreat more than a few steps, the beetle steps on the white slime and gets stuck fast, unable to move. Seeing this, my eyes light up. I immediately seize the opportunity. I open the deep blue treasure chest I'm carrying. 10 portions of stone instantly transform into blue light and fly out. Then with a thought, I open the control panel. I click to craft a heavy stone block. Then several meters above the beetle, a heavy stone block weighing 500 pounds appears. It rapidly falls and crashes heavily onto its body. The shell shatters, and the parasite dies instantly. Thwip! 3 more globs of white slime shoot toward me. This time, while retreating, I also locate where they're coming from. It's a soft-bodied parasite hanging upside down, a web-spitter parasite. Since the ironclad behemoth's stomach cavity is so vast, the ceiling is far from me. For the moment, I really have no way to deal with those parasites. Swoosh! Several familiar sounds of cutting through air ring out. I react immediately, constantly dodging the razor butterfly worm's attacks. When I can't dodge, I swing my cleaver to knock them away. But the growing numbers are really more than I can handle. Like this, the commotion grows louder. Nearly all the parasites in the stomach notice me. Then they all start closing in toward me. But right now, I can only defend with all my strength. I have no energy to spare to retreat into the esophageal passage. Suddenly, inspiration strikes. I seize a brief gap while dodging an attack. Pick up a razor butterfly worm corpse and throw it like a frisbee toward the web spitter parasites hanging from the ceiling. Just like that, I easily slice through one of them. Seeing the significant effect, I repeat this a few more times. Finally, I kill all the ones overhead. Without the slime attacks interfering, I finally have some breathing room. I immediately retreat and hide in the esophageal passage, but the massive swarm of parasites quickly chases after me. I immediately create several stone platforms, blocking the esophageal passage, treating it as a choke point, defending it firmly. The parasites here keep pouring in. I continuously slash away for over 10 minutes. Both my arms grow numb from exhaustion. Corpses of various parasites pile up, but they still keep pouring through the opening with all kinds of skittering sounds. I know I can't keep defending like this. My stamina simply won't hold out. With my 12 points of intelligence working rapidly, I quickly think of a solution. First, I dodge back some distance. Then I rapidly craft a foundation wall, sealing off the front. Then I turn and craft a corridor, positioning it right at the highest point of the esophageal passage. I seal all the other gaps with stone foundations, leaving only a straight path down the middle. Next, I take off all my equipment and put it in the supply crate. I add the Trailblazer's 5 attribute points to speed. Then, with a wave of my arm, I collect all the foundations blocking the parasites into the control panel and send them to Marcus. At this moment, the parasite swarm surges toward me like a tidal wave. My scalp tingles first. Then I sprint with all my might to the end of the stone corridor. I turn around and open the deep blue treasure chest. With a flick and motion, large amounts of stone fly out. In midair, I craft them into heavy stone blocks. Whoosh! Like raindrops, they fall. Dull impact sounds echo through the stone corridor as the swarm is crushed into pulp. After a while, the entire corridor is filled with heavy stone blocks. So I wave my hand and send them all to Marcus. The parasite swarm in the stomach continues pouring into the esophageal passage. Then I repeat the process, creating a rain of heavy stone blocks. After repeating this process for a while, parasites finally stop crawling into the corridor. Only a few lucky survivors rush to my front. And I'm not useless either. I add 5 attribute points back to strength, a few slashes, and I cut them all down. Then with a thought, I put on my armor and wade through the pulp on the ground, walking forward. Finally, I return to the ironclad behemoth's stomach. Looking around, there are still large numbers of parasites here, but they're all non-aggressive. They simply cling to the stomach walls, feeding on blood. After a whole night, I finally clear them all out. I only leave some glow orb parasites for lighting. At this time, I also reach the deepest part of the ironclad behemoth's stomach. Beside the digestion pit, there's a small mountain of piled iron ore. I think to myself I can't return empty-handed, so I plan to bring this iron iron ore back. But suddenly, several rumbling sounds ring out. The entire iron ore mountain inexplicably starts shaking. Immediately after, I see a worm with a metallic sheen all over its body. A massive worm, 2 meters thick, bursting out from inside. It writhes wildly, seemingly furious. I sense danger and want to flee. But the next second, it charges toward me at incredible speed, its gaping mouth lunging to bite. I hastily retreat a few steps, barely dodging. I swing down with all my strength, but I only hear the sound of metal clashing and sparks fly. My heart sinks. This creature's surface is actually covered in an iron hide. Then it immediately writhes its body and charges at me again. I quickly craft 3 heavy stone blocks in the air. They crash heavily down, but it only sinks slightly and takes no damage. Then it shakes its body, flinging all the heavy stone blocks away. Seeing this, my spirits hit rock bottom. I feel this parasite is simply not something I can eliminate right now. And just in this moment of my hesitation, its massive mouth lunges close again. This time, I don't dodge completely in time. It bites off a piece of my armor. Relieved terror washes over me. Cold sweat breaks out all over my body. If I'd been half a beat slower, I'd probably have lost my entire arm by now. I know I can't continue like this, so with my mind racing, I think of a plan. Though the heavy stone blocks didn't damage the giant worm, the 500-pound weight still had some suppressing effect. So if I have enough of them, even if I can't kill it, I can immobilize it. To do this, I need a narrow space to trap it. So I take off my armor. I add 5 attribute points to speed. The giant worm chases madly behind me, but with my 22 points of speed, I'm now faster than it. So I lead it in circles, while placing stone foundations. After more than 10 minutes like this, I successfully build a cubic space, but my stamina is mostly depleted. I quickly change direction and run into the gap I deliberately left. Next comes the most dangerous step, leading the giant worm in a circle here so its body coils inside. So at top speed, I turn at the 4 corners of the cubic space. Behind me, the sounds of the giant worm crashing into stone walls ring out continuously. Finally, I run out of the cubic space. Then I quickly turn and seal the gap. Boom! A massive impact sound rings out. The entire stone wall cracks. I know this cubic space won't hold for long, and the top is still open. Once the giant worm realizes this, it can simply climb out from above. So I hurriedly have Marcus send over all the stone he has. Then I craft them into large numbers of heavy stone blocks, dropping them from above. The giant worm writhes wildly, trying to break free. But soon the cubic space is filled. It's pressed down, unable to move anymore. At this moment, I finally have a chance to catch my breath. Then I start thinking about what to do next. The mission is to clear all parasites, or I can't leave. That means I must kill the giant worm, but my cleaver can't even break its skin. After thinking briefly, I turn my gaze toward the digestion pit. If I can drop the giant worm into it, maybe I can eliminate it. Suddenly, a golden glint flashes from the collapsed iron ore mountain, catching my attention. I hurriedly walk over for a closer look. I discover it's a gold-rimmed supply crate. Delight fills my expression. I approach to open it, but a dark, murky thing charges at me. I quickly dodge. Then I see the creature's appearance clearly. It looks just like the giant worm, but only 5 to 6 centimeters thick. It must be its offspring. Seeing this, inspiration strikes. I cautiously catch this small worm. Then I open the creature archive, hoping to find this creature's weakness. Steel borer. Body length, 20 meters. Weight, 230 tons. Diet, iron ore. A worm that lives in symbiosis with the ironclad behemoth. It consumes iron ore to produce steel. The steel on its body can be used to craft equipment. After reading the description, delight fills me. So this steel borer has a symbiotic relationship with the ironclad behemoth. It's not a blood-feeding parasite at all. In other words, I just need to clear out the last few glow orb parasites and the mission will be complete. There's no need to fight the adult steel borer to the death. So I pick up the gold-rimmed supply crate and turn around, planning to kill those few glow orb parasites. But at this moment, an extremely furious roar suddenly comes from behind me. The next second, the filled cubic space explodes. Immediately after, the giant worm charges toward me. Its speed is much faster than before. It seems to have entered a berserk state. I react immediately, dodging this strike. But the crisis isn't over. Immediately after, its tail swings toward me at extreme speed. My heart tightens because I'm not wearing any armor right now. If I'm hit, the consequences would be unthinkable. So with a thought, I craft a 3x3 wall in front of me. But the next moment, the stone wall shatters. The giant worm's tail slams heavily into me. I'm flung several meters before hitting the ground. At this moment, suffocating pain spreads through my entire body. My mouth hangs open, unable to make a sound for a long while. After pausing a few seconds, I force myself to get up. Fortunately, at the instant I was hit, I added my constitution to 23, which kept me from passing out. But immediately, I cough up a large mouthful of blood. Then my head spins and all my strength drains away. I know my internal organs are damaged, but the steel borer doesn't give me time to recover. It's already charging with its gaping maw. At this life or death moment, I struggle to hold on. I take out the waste blood powder from my pocket. I swallow it in one gulp. The blood in my body immediately flows faster. A surge of strength rushes out. My body can move again. Then I sidestep to dodge the attack. I turn and run toward the esophageal passage. But I haven't run far when I suddenly stumble. My throat tastes sweet and I vomit blood again. I know my body has reached its limit, and I understand now, when severely injured, I can't consume waste blood powder. At this moment, the steel borer charges up behind me again. In desperation, I scatter the Dreamweave anemone parasite's bodily fluid. It immediately has a hallucinogenic effect on it. Then, from its perspective, I've already run into the ironclad behemoth's esophageal passage, so it hurriedly chases after me, but soon it snaps out of it. It turns and discovers I'm still in the same place. I immediately pick up the deep blue treasure chest and craft 3 stone walls at the entrance to the esophageal passage, firmly securing them with numerous heavy stone blocks. A bang impact sound rings out. Seeing the walls don't budge at all, I know the steel borer is completely blocked. Then I open the gold-rimmed supply crate that was thrown on the ground earlier. Ding! Obtain tooth steel blade, scale steel chest plate, manual algae grinder blueprint, 1 ironclad behemoth tooth, 1 equipment slot. Instant delight fills me. These are all excellent items. I plan to take out the tooth steel blade to test how it feels. But the moment I hold it, I suddenly sink downward, nearly toppling over. I add 5 attribute points to strength before I can barely swing it a few times. Then I take out the scale steel chest plate. This time, I don't nearly topple. It simply slips from my hands and falls to the ground. It's far too heavy for me to wear right now. Next, I examine the manual algae grinder in the blueprint interface. I don't yet know what it does, and crafting it requires 30 wood, 10 steel ingots, and 10 iron ingots. I pause. Though I've never obtained steel ingots before, the steel borer's archive entry mentioned it can produce them. Then I check the personal stats panel. The equipment slot beside it has become 2 slots. Finally, I take out the ironclad behemoth's tooth. A massive fang gleaming with metallic luster appears before me, its surface extremely smooth. After slashing it hard twice with the iron cleaver, I don't see a single scratch. Seeing this, I think excitedly, this fang should count as fishbone. If I use it to craft fishbone armor, would I be invincible? Though I'm seriously injured this trip, such rich rewards make it worthwhile. At this moment, I know I can't delay any longer. Once the waste blood powder's boost ends, I'll enter a weakened state. So I immediately go to the iron ore mountain. After digging through a pile of ore, I quickly find the steel borer's nest. Cylindrical metal objects are scattered around. I immediately pick one up. Steel ingots. Delight fills my heart. I collect them all into the deep blue treasure chest. At this time, the small steel borer charges out from somewhere again. I grab it and plan to toss it aside casually, but I suddenly pause. If I bring it back, could I have it continuously produce steel ingots? So I immediately have Marcus send over a medical bandage. I bind the little worm tightly. Then I put it in my pocket. Now, this dungeon has finally reached its end. So I walk up to the last giant glow orb parasite, planning to clear it out. After one slash, blood gushes out like a waterfall. Then a red orb actually falls out from its body. Before I can think about what it is, the glow orb parasite's light dims. Immediately after, the ironclad behemoth's phantom slowly appears. I know this proves my dungeon mission is complete, so I hurriedly pick up the red orb and the 2 treasure chests. Then the phantom swallows me whole. The next second, I'm back in my giant fish's stomach. At this moment, I feel this place is cramped, but incredibly reassuring. When I come to my senses, I realize the stomach has actually been shaking the whole time. Then I hear the giant fish's thoughts ring in my mind, its tone seeming very anxious. Where did the little person in my belly go? When did he disappear? What do I do? It keeps repeating this. Not until a moment later, when it senses my presence. Does it stop? After a confused, Its little brain is a bit muddled, but it doesn't think much about it. Then it starts moving, searching for food. At this time, the waste blood powder's effect has also worn off, so I enter a weakened state. This makes me, already covered in injuries, even more listless. But I can't rest, because it's already morning. The feeding stage and swallowing supply crates won't be peaceful, so I must hold on until it rests. At this moment, I remember the red orb I'm still holding. I hurriedly examine it carefully. Ding! Obtained behemoth blood crystal. A crystal condensed from the essence of the ironclad behemoth's blood. At the Leviathan's scale core zone, it can make bone steel scales grow. After reading the system prompt, delight fills me. This is an excellent item. I didn't expect such a treasure to be hidden inside that giant glow orb parasite's body. However, the giant fish hasn't entered the metamorphosis stage yet, so I first transfer the crystal and items from the deep blue treasure chest to the storage locker. Then I craft a new mini aquarium. I unbind the small steel borer I brought back and put it inside. It has a fierce temper and keeps trying to escape. Seeing this, I take out 3 iron ore pieces from the storage locker. I put them in. Seeing there's food, it immediately calms down. After that, I patrol patrol the stomach cavity, feeding seaweed to the gel slugs. I ask Adrian for a tendril bloodworm corpse. I drain its blood to feed the waste blood coral polyps. The golden silk kelp is the same as always. However, after a night of growth, the crystal stone tree has grown 3 stone fruits to the size of lychees. At this growth rate, they'll mature tonight. After finishing my patrol and confirming everything in the stomach is fine, I climb onto the platform and rest half dead. No choice. I'm truly exhausted right now. Soon after, the esophageal membrane opens. Seawater rushes in. The giant fish begins feeding, but I don't feel nervous like before. After experiencing several major battles in the ironclad behemoth dungeon, I no longer take the parasites inside my giant fish seriously. After the seawater recedes, I find 2 white beetles nearly 2 meters long, the type I crushed with heavy stone blocks in the ironclad behemoth's stomach yesterday. Though these 2 are clearly much smaller, I glance at them, too lazy to move. I simply craft 2 heavy stone blocks above them. They drop quickly, but the beetles aren't badly damaged. Their shells aren't even cracked. Then they shake their bodies and toss the heavy stone blocks off, not because their shells are too hard, but because my giant fish's stomach cavity is too low in height. Without sufficient gravitational acceleration, the falling heavy stone blocks have much less impact. This makes me understand that in my giant fish's stomach, I can't easily kill parasites like I did last night. I mutter helplessly. What a pain. Then I add 5 attribute points to strength and climb down from the platform. The 2 pale shell beetles screech. Then they charge toward me. Without the slightest panic, I focus my thoughts. The toothed steel blade from my equipment slot appears in my hand. Then I swing it down forcefully. A crisp slicing sound rings out. The pale shell beetle is cut cleanly in half, but the toothed steel blade's momentum doesn't decrease. I can't stop it in time and it's about to strike the stomach wall. In my urgency, I quickly focus my thoughts. Instantly, I store the toothed steel blade in the equipment slot. At this moment, my listless eyes widen in shock. I thought the pale shell beetle's armored surface would make it harder to cut, but I didn't expect this toothed steel blade to be so sharp. It was like cutting through tofu. Fortunately, the equipment slot exists. Otherwise, if I hadn't stopped it and cut open my giant fish's stomach wall, that would be a huge problem. So when the second pale shell beetle charges over, I swing horizontally. I easily slice it in half. Immediately after, I cough violently. There's blood in my saliva, so I quickly add 5 attribute points back to Constitution. That helps a bit. Then I open the creature archive to check. Pale shell beetle. Body length, 2 to 3 meters. Weight, 500 kilograms. Diet, blood. A parasite that infests giant creatures. Heavily armored, nearly impenetrable. Shell can be used to craft armor. After reading, I can't help but complain. This toothed steel blade is truly too sharp. The giant fish's subsequent feeding process is peaceful. No creatures flow into the stomach, so I just lie there half dead, resting. After the feeding stage ends, I start transporting seaweed. After transporting the seaweed, I lie down like a dead dog again, preparing to rest. No choice. I'm truly exhausted. Last night I fought multiple major battles with parasite swarms in the dungeon, and I still haven't rested until now. At this time, Adrian and Marcus send messages saying their giant fish aren't moving today. The esophageal membranes open, but no seawater flowed into the stomachs. They must have encountered the treasure caves I told them about before. So I plan to provide logistical support like Marcus did back then. After a while, they both encounter attacks from rock-burrowing worms. I continuously send wooden shields to them. Marcus's giant fish quickly realizes he's being blocked. With a cry, it directly scares off the rock-burrowing worms. But Adrian isn't so fortunate. She has to endure over 30 wooden shields before her giant fish notices. This makes me realize that perhaps giant fish differ from one another. Some are smart, some are duller. When they both return, it's already evening. I don't stand on ceremony. I directly have them turn in all the blueprints they got today. Marcus's silver-rimmed supply crate contained an iron-plated shield blueprint. Adrian got a white silk chest guard. I craft them all in one go. The iron-plated shield is made of wood wrapped in a fairly thick layer of iron. Its defense is much higher than the wooden shield. Then I plan to test the white silk chest guard's defense. I slash it once with the iron cleaver. The white silk chest guard only has a shallow groove left on it, not damaged, though it's still inferior to my upgraded armor. At this time, the 3 stone fruits on the crystal stone tree have ripened. I walk over and pick them all. Then I crack one open and eat it directly. Ding! Consumed stone fruit. Strength +1, Constitution +1, Speed +1. Instant delight fills me. It can still increase 3 attributes. Then without hesitation, I eat the other 2. The 3 attributes increase 2 more times. I'm utterly shocked. Consuming 6 stone fruits actually gave me 18 attribute points. Then I excitedly can't help but open the personal stats panel. Even more surprisingly, the character evaluation has changed. The infected by parasite notification is gone. I can't help but mutter, could it be that the increase in constitution caused my immune system to directly kill the parasites inside my body? After thinking it over, I believe this is the only explanation that makes sense. Knowing I've rid myself of one worry, I couldn't be happier. Then I lie contentedly on the platform and fall into deep sleep. I wake the next day still in great spirits. While waiting for the giant fish's feeding stage, I suddenly remember the crimson locator card I haven't tried in these past few days. So I immediately take it out from the storage locker. I say, use. Originally, I just wanted to try it casually, but unexpectedly, the crimson locator card transforms into golden light and disappears. Ding! Crimson locator card used successfully. Abyssal Leviathan targeted to crimson waters. Based on current speed, will enter crimson waters in 3 days. Just as I'm surprised, the giant fish's thoughts ring in my mind. It feels like something is calling me. I can't help feeling delighted, because the food that can accelerate the giant fish's growth, the crimson kelp mentioned in the archive, is in that sea region. This trip is my duty. After all, the stronger the giant fish, the safer I am. Ever since entering the deep blue sea, the giant fish has been chased and hiding from various creatures, and each time I'm terrified yet helpless. Naturally, I won't miss this opportunity to help it grow. Soon after, the giant fish begins feeding. Seawater rushes in, but I don't hide in the safe area on the platform like usual. Instead, I simply stand in the turbulent seawater, because with my current 15 points of strength, even wearing a full set of armor, I'm still light as a feather, so there's no need to hide. Suddenly, the water surface explodes. 4 tendril bloodworms burst out. I nimbly swing the iron cleaver a few times and easily dispatch them. After the seawater recedes, I transport seaweed again. Then I remember there's something else I need to do. 5 days ago, I had Marcus and Adrian promote mini planters to guild members. In the end, 80 people were selected specifically to grow fruit, because fruit, grown by survivors themselves, can also accelerate the giant fish's growth rate. But the feeding amount required is a full 5 tons. So I thought of having some guild members grow them together, then collecting everything uniformly. Calculating the time, the watermelon seeds distributed earlier should all be mature now. So I send messages to Marcus and Adrian to have them collect everything. They begin collecting the watermelons grown by the guild. They successfully collect 70. Initially, I distributed 80 mini planters, but 6 members left the guild as soon as they got them. Of the remaining 74 people, 8 couldn't resist temptation and ate the watermelons themselves. So ultimately, guild members turned in 66 watermelons. The remaining 4 were 2 each grown by Marcus and Adrian. I think overall it's not bad. In this situation, relying entirely on self-discipline, 66 people still completed the task. They're worth trusting and cultivating. Soon after, Adrian sends me another message. She says a guild leader named Ducent suddenly contacted her, wanting to buy a bone edge from her. I'm slightly taken aback. What does this person mean? Did he also encounter a treasure cave today? Then I have Adrian trade with him to see what this person's situation is. But shortly after Adrian trades with Ducent, a message appears on global chat that shocks everyone. Dual right used successfully. Victor obtains all of the deceased's resources. Deathmatch begins. I'm stunned when I see it. Then, I immediately go to the storage locker and find my dual right is still there. So I can't help but frown and mutter, how is this possible? Where did he get a dual right? By checking the avatar on the red message, I see the dual right initiator is indeed Ducent, and the person he challenged is Wang Hawk, leader of the Supreme Alliance. After thinking for a moment, I suddenly realize something. Someone else must have entered the deep blue sea today and obtained a dual right. Then they sold it to Ducent at a high price. More than 10 minutes later, the duel ends. Ducent wins and obtains all of Wang Hawk's resources. At this moment, all the survivors on global chat fall into panic. The sudden turn of events causes an uproar among survivors. Dealing with various parasites in fish stomachs every day is exhausting enough, and now there are death matches. I just smile. When I first obtained the dual right, I already anticipated this situation. At this moment, the victorious Ducent is extremely arrogant, calling out directly on global chat. Everyone saw that. I now have the power to decide your life and death. Starting today, if you're afraid of dying, join my Skyreach guild. I guarantee I won't randomly kill comrades. After saying this, Ducent turns his attention to me. Oh, and you! Whatever big shot you think you are, either double the price on those algae oxygen generators you sell every day like I do, or stop selling them. Otherwise, I'll kill you. Hearing Ducent say this, I immediately craft 20 algae oxygen generators with disdain. I list them on the exchange market at the same price. Doing this, of course, is to avoid appearing too weak. Otherwise, Ducent will definitely push further. Moreover, the reason he didn't challenge me to a duel but chose someone else shows shows he's wary of me. After all, I'm currently ahead of everyone, surrounded by too many unknowns. As for my response, Deucent acts as if he didn't see it and goes silent. Many people on global chat speak up, wanting me to uphold justice. I completely ignore them and continue waiting for the giant fish to swallow supply crates. Suddenly, its thoughts ring in my mind. Damn it, get out of the way. The next second, the entire stomach cavity shakes violently. The giant fish accelerates at full force, then suddenly pauses. A thunderous explosion of water rings out. I'm hit by the sonic impact, but with my current constitution, I only feel slightly dizzy. I recover immediately. Judging from the sound, the giant fish used much more force this time than when it slapped the white scale fish. It seems to have encountered an even larger creature. Immediately after, the stomach cavity suddenly drops. The giant fish's body is attacked, then it lets out a painful cry. The entire stomach cavity spins rapidly like a washing machine. I cling tightly to the wooden platform's pillar to barely avoid being flung away. Boom! Another massive sound rings out. The giant fish crashes into a boulder. The stomach cavity shakes violently, but it's not over yet. The giant fish starts accelerating upward with all its might. The entire stomach cavity goes vertical. Soon after, it leaps out of the water with a splash. Then it begins plummeting rapidly. This puts me in a state of weightlessness. Another massive sound. The giant fish crashes down heavily. Then it finally calms down. The battle seems to be over, but I don't know what's happening outside. Whether the giant fish won, my heart is in my throat. Suddenly, the giant fish's thoughts ring out. Good thing you ran fast, or I would have rammed you to death. Hearing the giant fish's tone, though weak, it's defiant. Clearly, it won the victory with difficulty. My anxious heart finally settles. Then I can't help muttering, the creature encountered this time must be quite large too, considering it could escape even under the giant fish's full force attack. After the battle ends, I start checking various items. Those on the platform don't have major problems. The algae oxygen generator's water spilled. Gel slugs are scattered everywhere. I gather them back one by one. There's also the small steel borer. When the stomach cavity was flipping up and down earlier, it was tossed around terribly. It doesn't even have the energy to bite me now, but judging from its state, it's just dizzy and doesn't have any major problems. Soon after, just as I finish organizing all the items, the giant fish's aggrieved thoughts ring in my mind. It hurts. I immediately take it seriously. Is it injured? The giant fish can't have problems, but helplessly, I have no way to communicate with it and can't know how serious its injuries are. So I come to the esophageal membrane. I pat it forcefully. This indeed catches the giant fish's attention. It first mutters in confusion. Does the little person want to come out? Then it surfaces and opens the esophageal membrane. Delight fills my expression. I hurriedly grind with my finger. I grind 30 gel slugs and make more than half a wooden barrel of hemostatic gel. Then I carry it into the esophageal passage. The passage isn't pitch black because light shines in from the far end, warm and bright. I walk toward the light and arrive at the giant fish's mouth. The moment I step into the white light, I feel it somewhat glaring. After squinting to adjust, I slowly open my eyes. Everything feels suddenly clear. This is the first time I've seen warm sunlight since coming to this world. At this magnificent scenery, I can't help exclaiming, "What a beautiful blue sea and sky!" Then I spread my arms wide, feeling the long mist, sunlight, and sea breeze. The giant fish notices my strange behavior and sends confused thoughts. What is the little person doing? I pause when I hear this. Right, treating the giant fish's injuries is urgent. Then I leap forward and jump into the sea. I tread water and float. Seeing me come out, the giant fish closes its mouth, then slowly sinks its massive body, staring at me with those round, innocent eyes. I don't speak. I just lightly cut my arm with the iron cleaver. Blood seeps from the wound. Seeing this scene, the giant fish's eyes widen in alarm. Then I grab some hemostatic gel from the wooden barrel and apply it to the wound. The bleeding stops immediately. The giant fish blinks and quickly understands I intend to treat it. Then it submerges its entire massive body underwater, swims beneath me, and slowly rises, letting me stand on its body. As it rises higher, more and more of it emerges from the water. Horrific wounds appear in my vision. I furrow my brow directly. The injuries are much more serious than I anticipated, and the wounds are all elongated, as if slashed by blades. The half barrel of hemostatic gel in my hands probably isn't enough. After pondering a moment, I decide to first treat the larger wounds. After all, I only have 40 gel slugs total. This half barrel used 30. I must keep the remaining 10 for breeding, or if the giant fish suffers serious injuries in the future, I won't have enough to make hemostatic gel for it. Then I start applying gel to the larger wounds. The hemostatic gel's effect is still remarkable, immediate. After a while, I've treated all wounds over 1 meter. As for the remaining smaller wounds, I find that with the giant fish's large body's recovery speed, they've already stopped bleeding. It seems to feel the wounds don't hurt as much anymore, so it joyfully lets out a cry, and its thoughts ring in my mind. mind. Wow, the little person is amazing. But unexpectedly, the next second, it suddenly rolls its body happily. I'm directly flipped into the sea, caught off guard, and choking on several mouthfuls of seawater. The giant fish quickly realizes, so it hurriedly dives underwater and uses its body to lift me up again. I cough out seawater. Then I wonder to myself, is my giant fish a little goofball? After that, the giant fish doesn't dare move recklessly. Its entire body floats steadily on the sea surface like a small island. I don't immediately return to the stomach cavity. Instead, I lie directly on its body, feeling the sea breeze, basking in the sunlight. Since I'm out, naturally I should stay outside a bit longer. Moreover, the giant fish is injured. Though the bleeding has stopped, it needs rest. So I think I'll skip the 2 supply crates later today. After a while, I suddenly remember something. Earlier in the stomach, I couldn't burn the smelting furnace due to insufficient oxygen. But now I'm outside. Isn't that problem solved? So I immediately sit up, preparing to try. At this moment, I'm too lazy to return to the stomach cavity for basic materials. I simply ask Marcus for some. Then I use 50 portions of stone to craft a smelting furnace. I add gold ore to the furnace. Then I take out a piece of wood and whittle it into a round stick. I use the shavings as kindling and begin drilling wood to make fire. After more than 10 attempts, I finally succeed in making fire. The smelting furnace is lit. Now I just need to wait patiently. So I continue lying on the fish's back, basking in the sun. At this moment, I feel leisurely and content. Periodically, I add wood to the furnace. But the fuel, after about 2 hours, the ore in the furnace is only glowing red with no signs of melting. Seeing this, I scratch my head. This situation is within expectations. After all, smelting iron requires coal as fuel. It burns efficiently and produces high temperatures. Only then can the furnace reach the ore's melting point. However, though I don't have coal, I can make charcoal to try. I happen to have the portable charcoal kiln blueprint, and the crafting materials are clay and licorice I obtained before. But seeing it's already evening, I decide to make it tomorrow, because the charcoal kiln takes a long time to produce charcoal. It's almost night. The giant fish needs to find a relatively safe place to sleep. Floating on the sea is too dangerous, so today definitely won't work. However, I don't plan to waste the fire I worked so hard to start. So I return directly to the stomach cavity and use 5 iron ingots to craft an iron pot. I trade for 5 packages of instant noodles and 1 portion of spike shell lobster meat on the exchange market. Then I return to the giant fish's back. Then I place the iron pot on the smelting furnace and pour in mineral water. Before long, after the water boils, I add 2 packages of instant noodles and seasoning. I also pour in canned beef. The aroma instantly spreads all around. At this moment, I feel very satisfied. Then, seeing the beef is almost cooked, I add thick slices of spike shell lobster meat, then thin slices of white jade clam meat. Basically, whatever ingredients I have, I throw them all in the pot. After cooking, I even dish some out and send bowls to Marcus and Adrian. After eating, they both praise it enthusiastically. After all, surviving in a stomach is already difficult enough. Normally, they can't even eat salty food. Today, though I missed 2 supply crates, I'm still especially happy. Basking in the sun, feeling the sea breeze, eating a proper meal. This is the most comfortable day I've had since coming to this world. After eating, they both ask me curiously how I made fire. I tell them without hesitation how to get outside because I think making charcoal alone is too troublesome. Better to have them do it, then I can just use ready-made charcoal. But following my method, after trying to pat the esophageal membrane 10 times, their giant fish don't react at all. So I speculate their strength probably hasn't reached the level that can catch the giant fish's attention. Then Marcus asks carelessly, "So Alex, should I slash the esophageal membrane to force it open?" I'm directly startled. I hurriedly warn him not to harm his own giant fish. At the same time, at this moment, I also notice that other people in this world don't seem to care much about their giant fish. In their eyes, giant fish are just tools or ships. Only I can hear the giant fish's thoughts, so I treat it as a good companion and care about its condition. After eating and drinking my fill, I quickly return to the giant fish's stomach, planning to sleep and rest. After today, only 2 days remain until entering the Crimson Waters. Today is my 19th day in this world. I wake up and first patrol the stomach's condition. I discover the small steel borer has produced a small steel ingot. Delight fills me immediately. I didn't expect it to start producing after just 1 day in the stomach cavity. Though the volume is small, I'm already very satisfied. Next, I start waiting for the giant fish to feed. But before long, it's targeted by a giant creature. Then it starts fleeing. Finally, it swims until it almost has no stamina left before successfully escaping danger. But by this time, its feeding stage has already passed. After breathing a heavy sigh of relief, I have Adrian and Marcus collect large amounts of seaweed from their respective guilds and send them to me. Then, I feed them to the giant fish. Today, I don't plan to go outside to burn the smelting furnace either, because from the giant fish's current thoughts, I learn it's still in a tense state. This indicates that within its biological radar range, it's detected giant creatures still wandering nearby. At this time, Marcus sends a message saying he encountered razor butterfly worms today. Since I told him their weakness in advance, he easily overcame this crisis. Then I have him spread information information about razor butterfly worms on global chat, and the method to kill razor butterfly worms is sold at high prices to various guild leaders. Before long, Marcus trades for many blueprints, then he sends them to me. I look through them roughly. The one that catches my attention most is a blueprint called Stone Tile. After crafting it, I find it's 1 square meter in size, 2 centimeters thick, just like floor tiles. It fits well on foundations. Soon after, the giant fish swallows today's first supply crate. Ding! Obtained 1 surge capsule. After consumption, strength +5 for 5 minutes. Can only be used once per day. I hold it in my hand and look. It's just a very small red capsule. I think to myself, isn't this just a weakened version of waste blood powder? Doesn't seem very useful to me now. So I walk toward the storage locker, planning to store it first. But suddenly I feel I've stepped on something. I look carefully into the water and discover